Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your game master today, because today we are playing the first of our player appreciation sessions in 2021. It sounds so much like I'm just trying to drum up more business with Arlen, but it's really a way of saying thank you to some of the players who we don't get to some of their favorite games in the course of our usual games. So it's an opportunity to visit some games we don't normally run the channel, but that they particularly love. And this one, I believe, Arlen, am I speaking out of turn when I say that this is your favorite role-playing game?
I think there's a great odds on that bet.
Nice. So today we are playing Greg Stafford's magnum opus RPG, King Arthur Pendragon. And the version we're playing is version 5.2. It is the one that is currently in print, but will soon be replaced by yet another Kickstarter. But I think that what this has the distinction of being is this will be the final edition that was published during Greg's lifetime. The versions of Pendragon really are not all that different, to be honest. It's really pretty much remained the same. It's just been other little tweaks here and there to the game over the course of the history. But I have already jumped ahead and introduced you to the player for whom we are being appreciative today. Let's introduce, guys, who you are, who you're playing, and what is your experience with King Arthur Pendragon. So first up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Tin Gear, and my experience with Pendragon is I have almost all the books either in PDF or print, and I've read basically all of them, and I've read a ton of the literature that it's based on and love all of that too. And I have actually run more of the Charlemagne version Paladin than Pendragon proper, but they're basically the same game with a couple of different kind of small tweaks there. So I'm super excited because I've never actually gotten to play Pendragon before. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next up is Hobbs.
Hey everybody, I am Jason Hobbs. I have heard of King Arthur before, and that is about the extent of it. I am playing Oswulf, a Saxon pagan.
Nice. Next up is Dave.
Hey everybody, I am Dave. I'm playing Lupinus. He is a Roman Christian. And I have played... Actually, I don't think I've actually played Pendragon, because I played in 2 games at Arlen's run, which I believe were, as he mentioned, both the Paladin version. So
nice.
But yeah, I've read a fair bit of Arthurian novelizations and the original works.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, making his triumphant return to the channel, is James.
Hello. So I'm James, and I'm playing Adwin, a fearsome Cymric warrior renowned for her standing up against the unjust.
Very nice.
I've never played Pendragon. Nearest thing I've done is I've read the Great Hunt Quick Start rules for the 6th edition, so I had to skim through those. And I've run some sessions of Mithras, Mythic Britain.
Very nice.
So been in the setting, but not the game.
That's a cool, it's a really cool supplement too. I like that one a great deal. So guys, let's, I think that what we're going to do is we're going to kind of, to discuss what we're playing today, it's going to be important to first start with the setting, because this game, like a lot of more modern games, this game is designed to do kind of one thing well. And that is to simulate the stories of King Arthur in all the different permutations and variations that that it has been presented. The core rulebook goes into great detail about all the different kind of versions and approaches to King Arthur that can be drawn on, and then in a really terrific campaign called the Great Pendragon Campaign, a massive sprawling epic that covers like 80 years of history. Greg Stafford presents one version of doing that, but the neat thing with one of the things that's neat about the game is that he really emphasizes that it's there is a version that is presented as the default in the game, but you're encouraged to make it your own. So if you want to lean more heavily into kind of the postmodern stuff, you can do that. If you want to lean more heavily into the high chivalric stuff, you can do that. If you want to have more magic in the game or less magic in the game, you can do that as well. So it's a really flexible game, even though it's designed primarily for you guys playing knights and the families of knights and about their different passions and foibles and whatever, the fortunes and misfortunes that befall them and their families over the ages in the time of from Arthur's father through until Arthur's death. The way that you can present that story is there's a bunch of different lenses, and I'm, of course, going to be taking my own approach to the session today. One of the things I think that's important for the understanding where we're playing, too, when you think of knights and whatnot, there's been so many different interpretations of it that it's easy to sort of not know what Arthur's Britain would look like. So what I want to emphasize, I guess, is what time we're playing in. So this year, the year that we are starting in, is the year 479. In the year 410, up until 410, the dawn of the 5th century, Britain was part of the Roman Empire proper, complete with support of legions and the force of arms that brought the light of Rome to the rest of the world. But then, in 410, the Emperor Honorius told Britain to look to your own defenses. And overnight, Britain was left on its own. And a year later, the unthinkable happened, and the light of the world, Rome, was sacked by Visigoths. And this sent a shock through all of former Roman Britain or former Roman Empire, and it sort of accelerated the decline. In the intervening years, there have been rulers who have been corrupt and tyrannical, and have also thrown in with the Saxons, coming in Germanic, seemingly savages as far as the native Cymric Britons are concerned, who have pillaged and seized control of much of Britain, until the return in 466 of the king, Aurelius Ambrosius. And Aurelius Ambrosius is the uncle of, when he would be born, he would be the uncle to Arthur. One of the things I mentioned in this is that the game is about the family. And one of the things that it's important to know about your characters is that it is the legacy of, it's really more the story of what's unfolding in Britain, and to a lesser degree, your family and your family's holdings. That's the story of what you're doing in a campaign in Pendragon. Characters die. All characters die. Whether that is on the battlefield, through violence, through some misadventure, or from old age. All characters die in King Arthur Pendragon, and it's the time that they spend adventuring and questing that is the stuff that makes up the meat of the game. So one of the things that is absent from the game is narrative metacurrency. There is not the same kind of stuff we see in a lot of the games that we play. Part of that's because of the age of the game, but also because that's sort of the style of the setting. Misfortune or grand fortune can befall anybody. A bad dice roll can result in, if your character is involved in combat, it could result in their death or permanent dismemberment, or some kind of horrible misfortune. Healing also is not a guaranteed thing in this, and characters can take ill and die from that as well. And that is, again, a feature, not a bug. It's supposed to be big stakes, but if you lose, if your character dies, that is not the end of your story. Well, if we were making these characters fresh from the get-go, we would know about your family. We would know the standing of your father. We would know about what other relatives you have. And if your character died, or if you chose to retire your character, you would pick up a new character, and we'd keep on playing. So where we are right now is in a time where there is a mix of different people living in Logres. Logres is the kingdom of King Aurelius Ambrosius. King Aurelius Ambrosius, that name may not be familiar to you, but his brother, Uther, who will be known in time as Uther Pendragon, that name may be known to you. Uther, of course, is the man who will be Arthur's father. In, let's see here, so the people living in Britain right now are a mix of native Britons who have sworn allegiance to King Aurelius Ambrosius, or the other British lords who and kings and warlords and whatnot who took over for the Romans after they left. There are also old Roman families still left over in the cities. London is where I'm picturing your family is from, Lupinus. That's why you actually have a different set of skills and a different set of values than what others do. In addition, while Christianity has come early for, I believe, a couple of centuries now, it is not dominated everywhere, and the native British Christianity is different from the faith of the one church in Rome. So you'll note that Adwin is a devout follower of British Christianity, but they have different values and different structures to what Lupinus's Roman church would be. It is not the Catholic Church yet, because the iconoclast schism doesn't happen for a couple of years. But that's the two major Christian faiths that dominate here. There's also still a great deal of respect for and veneration of the traditional old ways in Britain. And that's what Tingir's family follows, those old ways, the old gods, and the connection that Britons have and relationship they have with the fair folk and the goodly people. And then there are, of course, the Saxons. The Saxons are some of the most hated people in Britain. They are seen as raiders and marauders, but there are some Saxon families that have sworn allegiance to the king. And Oswulf, you come from one of those families, but you are not so you haven't been domesticated so much that you have left behind your traditional faiths of Germanic paganism. So at this time, there is a relative peace across the land. There's scheming amongst the different nobles, but things very quickly are about to get very, very violent. Saxons are still coming in from over the English Channel, or across the English Channel. There still are there is domestic strife between different warlords, and there still are kingdoms completely controlled by Saxons. But where our four heroes will be starting is with you guys arriving in a castle. Now, before we get to the actual gameplay, I want to just point out one more thing here. So let me pull up Adwin here, but each of you guys, if you could take a look at your character sheets, I want to point something out. So you got your attributes on there. Attributes are very basic. Task resolution in this game is an absolute piece of piss. It's a 1d20 task resolution. You roll a 1d20. If you roll if you roll under whatever thing you're rolling against, the skill or the stat or whatever, you succeed. If you roll equal to the number, the precise number of your stat, that is a critical success. If you roll over your stat, that is a failure. If you roll a nat 20, that is a critical failure or a fumble. There is, let's see here, your hit points are what you expect from other games. One thing different is weapons generally will do damage based on your character's attributes. You'll see you've got a damage score there. That's, unless I say otherwise, that is how much damage your weapons do. They do whatever your damage rating is. That's a calculation based on your size and your strength. You'll note that you guys run between 4d6 for, I think, most of you, and then 6d6 for Oswulf, because Oswulf is a big, burly Saxon. You roll that, you subtract the DR, and then you apply that to the hit points. If that does more damage than the target's constitution, then they suffer a wound. Is that what happens, or they fall down? They might fall down, I think.
So there's two pieces. There's the knockdown rating and the major wound rating.
Yeah.
Your constitution determines your major wound rating, which is if you take that much in one hit, you got bad gotten.
Yep. Right, and the size is the one that is the knockdown, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then, if you lose all your hit points, if you hit your unconsciousness rating or your unconscious rating, you pass out. You are more likely to pass out as a result of combat or injuries than you are to just die outright. There are also your skills function just like they do in other games. You click on the button, you want to roll that number or less, and you'll get a success or a critical hit depending on whether you get that number or not. Contested rolls go to whoever rolls highest but not over, and critical hits always go to whoever rolled critical. There's two ways that the game captures the feel of like chivalric drama. And the way that I sort of clicked on what this game was trying to do is by thinking it in terms of samurai drama. Samurais are also, the thing that I like about samurai drama is that it plays on the obligations versus the character's interests. So in a kind of way, it's, what you need to do versus what you want to do. This game captures that in two different ways. One of them is with your personality traits. Your personality traits, if you guys had selected them, you'd be setting up what they are. But what they are is opposed different traits that can come into play that help us understand how your character is going to react. One of the things you kind of have to accept with the game is that there is a degree of surrender of how you roleplay your character to the personality traits. So if you come into a circumstance where your character is, will be tested for their honor, or their recklessness, or their valor, we roll your personality traits and we abide by whatever comes from that. And that's sort of the way that you mitigate against that is when your character, when we set what values or what traits you guys have at your highest rate. If you had 16, none of you guys have got them yet because it's something in the course of the game that you would develop over play. But if you had each of your different faiths has different values, different traits that they value, and if you have all of them at 16 or higher, you actually get a stat bonus for that. But that's something that you cultivate over time, so you could pursue that. And the way that you pursue that is by using these things. If you successfully use it, you put a little tick next to the box, and then at the end of the adventure, we roll. If you roll over that number, it goes up by 1. You also have a way of developing and training those things, but like if you want your character to be just or merciful or whatnot, role play them that way and make use of your traits. I can trigger your traits, you guys can trigger your traits. Apart from determining what the outcome would be, there's not really much else that you do. You don't get a special bonus for things. If you get a crit on your personality traits, that's great, but you get a little tick on your experience box. There's not really any other bonus that comes from that. Your passions, however, that is something different. What your passions are is the things that you value. It's the things that drive you as a character. It's the things that really get you, motivated to go and do the just and dangerous things that you do as a knight. When you wish to make use of your passions, this is you guys who make the call for when you're doing that. You're going to call on your passions. Is it once per session, Arlen, or is it as many times as you want?
I think you can call on passions. I think the general way it's ruled is that you can only call on any given passion once per session.
Yep. But
as many passion rolls as you want during the session. But if you fumble, you go crazy into the woods and lose your character. So the thing with passions is that it is a bit of a risk-reward thing. If you make your roll with a passion, then you get a +5, I think is what it is, to your next roll related to that. Oh, no, hold on. If you succeed, you get to check a point. Oh, yes. No, it's +10. Holy shit. So if you want to be inspired, like let's say there's some threat to your family or your honor or whatever, and you decide to challenge that, you make your roll. On a success, you get +10 to your next roll. And if you get a critical success, you get a +20 to your next roll. So, however, as Arlen said, if you fail, you may become disheartened and get a -5 to all future rolls. So it's a very risk-reward thing, and it's also in fitting with, like, the Arthurian tales are all about people failing to meet their obligations, and that's sort of what the game tries to capture. So
if you guys want to roll on your traits, you can take advantage of them to try and decide how you want your character to act, but, don't feel obliged by them. I will trigger certain ones at certain times. And the passions, though, that's where really you get to have your personality kind of come through. The one thing I want to do, too, is to... here's what I want you guys to think of now to start getting some ownership over these characters. There's something called directed traits. And these are things that modify your other traits. They can either be pluses or minuses. What they could be, examples of directed traits can be like lustful towards blondes, or suspicious towards certain knights, or forgiving towards crying women, arbitrary to Malahants, anyone from the kingdom of Malahant. Indulgent in mead, cowardly. So if you got some kind of trait that you want to play up with your character, let's hear about that now. What do you guys think? Is there anything you can think of a personality trait you want? And these, if you're playing them up as bad traits, that is absolutely in the spirit of the game. What do you think, guys? The things I will tell you is the things you are known for. Each of you guys has a 16 in at least one trait, something which you are known for. Tengear, you are energetic. Adwin, you are just. Lupinus, you are suspicious. And Oswulf, you are generous. In spite of being a big, hulking, strange-looking big Saxon, what is known of you is that you have a large and generous heart as big as your frame. So, what do you guys think? Is there anything, or if you want, what we can do is just, if you think of something as we're playing through, say what that is, and then what we'll do is we'll roll 2d6, and that becomes the trait that will modify other stuff. Yes? Okay, we'll do that. All right, so apart from that, guys, that is the long and the short of the game. There is a bunch of other stuff to do with your family if we were playing an ongoing campaign, but for the purpose of this, it doesn't really matter. So let's talk about where we are picking up. So you guys are all squires. None of you have been knighted yet. And the year is 479, and as I mentioned, your lord is, or the king, I should say, is King Aurelius Ambrosius. Your lord is the Earl of the County of Salisbury. And let me bring you over to Salisbury. So guys, this is a map of Salisbury. Where our campaign, or our session, will be starting is with you guys riding in to right here, Vagon Castle. Vagon is one of many castles that make up the Earl of Salisbury's domain, and you have each been sent here by your whatever knight that you have been serving to sort of further your apprenticeship and further your skills as a squire. And if you want to get a sense of what Vagon looks like, let me quickly give you a handout here, guys. So when you first approach, this is what Vagon Castle looks like. Vagon Castle is, as is typical for this Arthurian period, a motte and bailey castle. It has the benefit of a moat, and it is built of stone. The surrounding wall will enclose whatever village and whatnot that are within the keep or within the outer walls, but the actual keep itself is atop the bailey. Another perspective on this, guys. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me just go to a new page here and add this. Where is it? Where is it? Vagon, where are you? Here we go. Oop. This will give you an idea of what you're seeing. Boom. And those are the green hills of Britain. Now, you guys will be coming from, some of you from quite far away. And let me give you a map here of Salisbury. Where's that map? Here we go. Salisbury is but one of the counties that makes up the Kingdom of Logres. There we go, guys. Boom. And the seat for Logres is for Salisbury is at Sarum. You guys have never been to Sarum before. London is, I believe, to the east and then south for you, Lupinus, so you've come from that direction. Adwin and Tingir, you're probably from Salisbury. If we were playing this as an ongoing game, we would have determined where your family's seat is. And Oswulf, you likewise are likely from somewhere in here. But as each of, I guess first off, which of you guys do you think would be the final one to arrive?
The one who came the farthest.
So probably Lupinus then. So,
yeah, it seems, yeah.
And how do you think, let's do this. Why don't you guys give us an idea? These are, for those listening at home, the guys are playing pre-gen characters, but as with all pre-gens, I want you guys to make these your own. So definitely feel free to improvise or interpret stuff in whatever way you want. We'll say that the rest of you guys, Tingir, Oswulf, and Aiden, the person who you are, this is, of course, one of Earl Roderick's castles, but you have been under the care of a man named Sir... Oh, what's his name? Sir Elad. An aged knight who has fought with the king against Saxons, but he did suffer a fairly grievous injury. And as such, he has kind of been relegated to a position of tutor to other knights. So Sir Adwin and sorry, actually you guys are not sirs yet. You have not earned that knighthood. So Tingir and Oswulf and Adwin, how do you guys, like, what do you think the others have picked up from you? What do you seem to the other young squires? We'll start with you, Arlen.
Tingir is very friendly. He's open. He's not even really got a kind of like a chip on his shoulder about Oswulf or anything, despite being a Saxon. But he seems to have just sort of like he's never sitting still. He's always standing up and pacing around, or he's twitching his leg or bouncing around. He just exudes this kind of level of constant motion.
Since we're doing this now too, let's say one special thing about each of you guys. And the special thing about Tingir is that as a child, being your family is close to the old ways and to the people under the mounds. As a child, a fairy whispered a song in your ear while you slept. If you make a successful singing roll, you grant all friends that hear it +3 to their energetic and +3 to their valor traits. I think you've got a respectable singing skill as well, too, don't you?
I will check after I write down. Singing. No, my singing is not very good.
What is your singing?
My singing is a 4.
Bump that up to a 12.
All right.
Yeah, because that's will be important for you to actually make use of your thing.
Suddenly, I'm feeling much more.
Yep.
Able to command the wind and the lungs, and I'm just gonna burst into song.
Nice.
Not right now, but you know.
Absolutely. Okay, so am I correct in thinking that as the energetic one, he may be more prone to introduce himself and like start up conversations with Adwin and Oswulf?
Oh yeah, I think he's always, and he's trying to convince them to race horses around the moat or something at this point. Okay. Now that he knows them.
Nice. All right, and Hobbs, what about Oswulf? What would the people pick up about our? I gotta make I'm gonna make his token a little bigger too, just so we know just how much bigger Oswolf is than everyone else. Because he's a big mamma jamma.
All right, so yeah, apparently he's a big dude, quite powerful, and like in any efforts that they've done wrestling, or because that's obviously going to have happened probably at some point in training, quite. He's more than happy to be boastful about his successes, but anyone that he actually hurts, he tries to help them as well through his generous heart and a healing hand.
Mm-hmm. And he has, especially in the heart of Salisbury like this, the sentiment towards Saxons is extremely negative. Not for lack of reason. There are a lot of dead people as a result of the Saxon invasions, but it's something. How do you think Oswolf takes that?
I think it probably depends on the presentation more often than not.
Okay,
because he can be forgiving, he can be vengeful. So it probably depends on exactly what route a person would take to try to insult him or bring it. Because if it's first lord, second family, those are his passions.
What Oswolf? So what you do in the game as well is that when you create a character fresh from the start, you also get to roll on what's called luck, and you get some random thing from your heritage. What Oswolf has is he does have, a sword and a shield and whatever else. He also has with him a marvelous family great axe. And if you make a successful love family passion roll, you gain 8 points of protection. So basically it'll double your armor. And the great axe uses your two-handed attack, and you get to add 1d6 to the roll. So you'd actually be rolling 7d6 with the damage with your great weapon. It's fucking ugly. It destroys shields. So you've got this unusual Saxon axe, but it has been in your family for, you can invent whatever sort of. It may have been blessed by, Odin, or, it could have been forged by dwarves, or whatever you want the legendary to be behind that. Next up is Lupinus. So, Dave, what is the impression that Lupinus has left?
Well, so he's a bit of a complex guy. He's, comes from a devout background, and he's very valorous, but he's also suspicious and maybe somewhat deceitful. He's got his own little dark side to him, and he tries to, cork it away and hide it as that no one will see, and be a good squire. And I think that's part of the reason why he was sent here for training is he struggles with some of the darker sides of things, so I think what people will probably notice most about him is he's pretty quiet, and he's often listening more than talking, and definitely seems to have a strong eye for Saxons in a not so happy way.
Nice. So one of the things that you also, those who, when you guys do meet Lupinus, the scabbard and the sword that it holds are actually a little shorter than what a traditional British, sword would be. And that is because he carries with him a family heirloom, the Gladius of Titus Pullo, champion of Caesar's legions. Because it is shorter, you do take -2 to your sword skill, but it does an extra 1d6 plus 3 damage. So when you roll damage, you'll also add 1d6 plus 3 to it.
Okay.
And then our final future knight is Adwin.
Right, so Adwin, people will notice is she's both chaste and modest, but at the same time, despite that, she's got everyone knows her as somebody who wants to succeed, to excel, and therefore is never going to be down on the valor side. She's always going to be at the forefront to prove herself.
Okay.
But alongside that, she's above all, people know her as somebody who's got a very strong sense of justice. What should be.
Well, it sounds like she's not shy with sharing that opinion when need be.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one other characteristic she's got is that she also is not fond of Saxons, her grandfather having been killed in battle with them.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'll just point out here too is that, as you can see, with the variety of cultural backgrounds, faiths, and traits and things like that, there's an enormous amount of flexibility with the different characters you can play. And we've also got a female knight in here too, which is an optional thing. But if you look at the last adventure and the pre-gens that Greg Stafford put together before he passed, it is a wide variety. Characters from all over the place. There's a Byzantine knight in there. There's a knight from I think it's called Zalmek. It's the fictitious North African country. And it's, I think that the way that he would have run the game, or at least he seemed to encourage it, is to take advantage of that cultural diversity and the diversity. If you want to play female knights, go fill your boots. So that's what we've done with our game as well. So then, I think Oswulf, Tingir, and Adwin, you guys have heard what each other have been. You've had about a week with each other. Tingir has been, it's seeming like, to try and prompt you guys to do stuff together. How have Adwin and Oswulf responded to that?
I think Oswulf is open to it. Maybe a little recklessly open to it, but I don't know how our Adwin feels about it.
Oh, Adwin's always wanted to prove herself.
Okay, so with Adwin as well, I forgot to tell you what her luck is. Adwin has that baldric that you can see in her, or it's not a baldric, but it's like a vest, a leather vest that she's got. That actually, if she is struck with a major wound, she can make a love of family passion roll, and on a success, it will reduce it from a major wound to be 1 point less than what it would have been.
And she loves the family.
Yeah, and a critical success would be you only take half of the damage. And then we roll afterwards to see if it is ruined or not. But, okay. So, guys, what about, how does Adwin feel with what Tingir's been sort of prompting here? Has she been joining in? Has she been kind of keeping your distance and waiting for the instruction from Sir Elad?
No, she wants to show that she's not second to anyone.
Okay.
So she'll join in.
All right. So I think you guys are in the midst of, maybe you've returned from a recent... Oh, actually, let's do this. So let's have Tingir, Oswulf, and Adwin. Since you are riding, this will take us outside of the walls of the castle, of Vagon Castle. And what, let's see here, I'd like you guys to each do is, we're going to keep a running tally here, guys. And we're going to make some horsemanship checks here. And when you get, let's see here, when you get to, let's say 5, that will be the person who wins. On a success, you get 1 point. On a critical success, you get 2. On a failure, you get 0. And on a fumble, you will fall off. So Tingir, you're the one who's prompting this stuff to get going. So we see you guys out on one of the days, a fine summer day here. You brought each of the horses gifted to you by your family. And I'd like Tingir, Oswulf, and Adwin. Now, would you guys have wagered anything on this race? Have you known yourself well enough now to want to try and antagonize your fellow squires?
So Tingir is just playing for fun, right? That's kind of his whole personality is let's do fun stuff. So he's not worried about money on the betting, but if somebody else suggests, he might take them up.
Well, knights would likely not be betting just money. It may be something else.
Yeah.
Someone, you're squires. You do not have anyone servicing your horses. It may be something like you get someone else to clean your horses, dress them down. Precisely. Would any of you guys be inclined towards that? In fact, let's do this. Why doesn't everyone give us a reckless check? Let's see who is feeling reckless. Okay. Both Oswolf and Tingir. Pretty... Oh, okay, so... Oh, no, Tingir failed.
Yeah, I don't have a high reckless, but
yeah.
Oswolf, he's a little more reckless than Tingir.
Yep. Okay, so Adwin and Tingir have not been thinking this, but I mean, Oswolf, you come from a very, your tribe, your culture is not short of bragging and boasting and rivalry. So maybe with that role, that's a pretty high, that's close to a critical success. How do you think Oswolf maybe prompts the other two?
So because of this role, that means he is being more reckless and the other guys are not being reckless? Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, success seems a little weird in that situation.
Yeah. Well, what it is I think like one of the ways that you get like to incentivize it, if what you're using your trait for is something that's going to prompt more drama and more more action in the story, you get to actually tick off the experience points, and you might be able to raise that.
But do I want to raise reckless? Don't I want to be more prudent? I don't know.
Recklessness might be something that you could also... I mean, it depends on what your character... A reckless character would not undertake some seemingly impossible tasks.
And just within the way you score, your sort of score within the game is glory, and any trait, anything higher than 16 is glorious, whether or not it's traditionally good or bad. So being really reckless makes you famous just as much as being really prudent does.
And it's not marked as one of the things I'm supposed to be going for, right? The ones that are actually have stars next to them are ones that I'm trying to get to 16.
The stars are for chivalry.
Yeah, stars are for chivalry. So this, for your faith, the things that are important for pagans is, let's see here, Saxon Germanic pagan, being generous, being proud, being worldly as opposed to spiritual, being reckless, and being indulgent. If you had all of those at 16, you would also get additional bonuses, because you are you're the epitome of the Germanic pagan faith.
All right. So I was looking at some directed traits, regional directed traits, which I just found on the internet somewhere.
Okay.
But almost all of them have some way of being indulgent of alcohol.
Okay.
So it seems like this someone who is reckless and valorous would certainly be indulgent of alcohol. Can I make that a directed trait?
Of course. Give us 2d6. Let's see how strong it is. 4. Okay.
Not that strong then, right?
Well, I mean, what it does is that's a modifier that's applied to other things. So if you were, say, reckless with alcohol, your reckless currently is 13. It would be a 17 when overindulgence in alcohol is concerned.
Oh my. All right, so I don't know when this race had started, but I could certainly say that loser, I'll try to prompt the others into making it more, hey, wagering is always more fun. Let's put something on this race, Tingir, if you need it to happen so. Whoever loses has to deal with Sir Elad's chamber pot for a week. I'm sure that's some work we have to do. I don't know, whatever
Sure.
work you want to do.
Yep.
Clean the stables, whatever.
So
you're Oswolf. I think you're going to be getting dirty in the coming week.
Nice.
Whoever loses, so there's 3 of us, only one person will actually lose. The last person in is what I'm saying.
Now, if
King
you
of
I'm
Nice.
guys,
aware, pal.
you guys can choose to role play your traits, or you can choose to make a roll if you want to. It's totally up to you guys. How does Adwin respond to this?
Well, let's roll on that. Now, Adwin's like, you two lads can do what you like. I'm not going to descend to stuff like that. You boys, grow up. You can't rile me into it.
It appears it is between Oswolf and Tingir then. So, guys, with you, and you can picture yourself, maybe you're on the very far side of the field, and you guys are going to be racing down, or maybe it's from the road to the tree line. That's where you guys are going to be racing. So, guys, with your horses lined up, there is a stable hand who has a little, a piece of fabric, gets ready, holds it up, and let's go. And as soon as it hits the ground, I'd like you guys to each give us a horsemanship check, please.
I'm not very good at
All
horsemanship.
right.
Okay. Tingir is off. So with 2 failures, Tingir, what have you... Maybe you start singing right away. You shout out and start singing as you're raiding off, and the horse is going to rear back from Oswolf and Adwin, giving you that early lead.
Yeah.
But your singing's still not good. It frightens the horses.
Okay. So Tingir is off with an early lead. Guys, so we got... Oh boy, I'll put in to break up these rolls here. Tingir is at 1, and no one else has got anything. And you know what? We need to have something a little more thrilling here for this chase. So here we go, guys. All right. Tingir has... Oh,
Great.
cat. Questing beast, cat. All right, so guys, give us a horsemanship roll again, please.
Is there anything I can do to affect my horsemanship roll?
You could try and call on a passion. If you think maybe this is going to offend your honor, you're going to dishonor your family. Because remember, you get a +10 if you get successful.
I'll hold it for now, but I'll keep that in my pocket.
Okay. Tingir, once again, a 6.
Oh, shit.
Oh, jeez. So you guys are having a hell of a time trying to catch up. Tingir is taking a massive lead. Incidentally, each of you guys have a family, particular, like a random family trait as well, too. Tingir's family raises horses that are renowned throughout Logris. So he's pretty fucking good at
Should
horseback.
have done your research, boys.
No wonder you started this.
He's charging ahead. So you guys are falling way behind. At this point, if he keeps on his pace, you guys will never be able to catch him. So, does anyone wish to call on passions, or just rely on what you can do with your... Remember, a successful call on passions gives +10.
You can only do each one each time, though, right? During a session.
Let's say encounter. This is a one-shot.
Oh,
Fuck it.
okay, good.
we'll
All
go
right.
big.
Well, what's hospitality mean in the passions?
That is being respectful for people visiting. It's kind of like the rules,
Okay.
like the Arabic kind of the law of salt, where if you serve them food or whatnot. In Game of Thrones, it's I can't remember what they call it, but it's if you've broken bread or whatever, you're supposed to treat them honorably.
It's like if you invite him to a wedding or something.
Precisely, yeah. Yeah. So, what do you think, guys? If you don't have any, I'll leave it to you to roll your passions if you want to. Otherwise, another round of horsemanship.
I'm totally honest, so I'm not going to do anything like that. But I mean, I could certainly be affected that being the only Saxon around family-wise, I would certainly draw on that.
I could see
Especially if I don't want to lose to this Adwin, who seems to not like
that.
Saxons.
You could be shouting out in German at this point too at your horse, like "Turn the fuck up."
I'm sure that's it. So to make a love family, is that what you want?
Please do.
But if it's a 20, like my guy goes crazy. All right, success.
Success. So you have successfully called on. This is the honor of your family. So for this roll, your horsemanship will be treated as a 10 higher than what it is.
So for the mod, I just put 10.
Yes, plus 10. Oh, I think it's just 10, yeah.
I would have made it anyway.
Oh, there we go. Oswolf, success.
Nice.
So Adwin and success with Adwin. Success with Tingear. All right. So you guys are in this race now. Tingear is at 1, and Oswolf and Adwin are at 1 each. All right, guys.
Tingear's at 3. So do I mark this blue box next to Love Family then?
Yeah. It's usually when it's something that really ties in. Like if you, you know.
Okay.
I mean, if there was some reason why this was more important to your family for some reason that you came up with, like it's sort of the way I see it is it's your way of fishing for experience points rolls and also adding to the story. Like it's sort of it adds to both. So because you're making it more of a personal investment for your character, you get XP for it and it makes the story better.
Okay.
So yeah, see, you're both charging along too. Then it is round 3. Anyone else? If anyone wants to call on passions, go nuts. Otherwise,
Yes, because Adwin hears the German next to her speaking a filthy tongue, so she's energized by that one.
oh no!
Not that energized.
no!
She's not bothered.
She's more than not bothered.
Yeah. So because she failed, that means she's disheartened. I think because he's overtaking her, there's a moment of like, how is this Saxon winning? So you're gonna take -5 to your horsemanship roll.
Hates
for this
Saxons. So boy.
So Adwin, Oswolf, Tingear, if you're using any passions again, please feel free. Do you remember, Arlen, do passions last for the scene or only for the roll?
I think they last for the scene, but I'm looking at the page right now, and I'll double check.
Sure. Let's say it does for the scene, because that sounds fun. I mean, I know the penalties last for the scene.
Oh, so it makes sense that
The inspiration lasts for the length of the task at hand, but never more than 1 day. So yeah, Oswolf.
Yep.
You now have effectively an 18, so you got a higher horsemanship than Tingear.
Well, not for long, because my family raises the best horses in all around everywhere.
Yep.
And I'm not about to be, not only am I going to win, I'm going to smoke these two and just blow them out of the water. So I'm going to call upon my love of family and see about getting a ridiculous
Nice.
horsemanship of 25.
25. All right, so here's the way that it works with when you have a score over 20, because it's the highest number rolled, as long as it's a success, you take the amount that you're over 20 and you add that to your roll. So the likelihood of you dominating. But Oswolf's got an 18. Okay. So
I only got a success, not a crit.
Okay, so he got a 9. Oswolf and Adwin. Adwin, you're taking -5 to yours. Oswolf, you still get +10 to yours.
All excited, so I'm yelling at Tingear.
Yeah.
I can't remember what society Adwin is from.
Adwin's Kimrick, native
Kimrick.
British.
Oh, critical.
Oh, jeez. So what that means is Tingear is going to be at 4, Oswolf is at 3, and Adwin is at 1. Coming up from behind. Tingear is at 4, Oswolf at 3, and Adwin at 1. So
Tingear doesn't bite it. Fail or
This Kimrick's eating my dust, Tingear. I'm coming for you.
Nice. All right, then, guys, we have. It does look like, unless something. Oh no, Adwin! Oh god! So Adwin actually falls off.
You had to say that, didn't you?
But
And if you roll a fumble, you fall off. Oh, he got a
I get a
critical.
critical because my scores, you can't fumble anymore when your score is higher than 20. That's why I did the passion thing.
Now let's try Oswolf. Let's see how you do. If you get a crit, you guys could finish neck and neck. So Oswolf.
Oh, but I did get successful.
Oh, so you'll be coming up from behind. Unfortunately, Adwin, I don't. It's the, you mentioned that some of your family had died at the Saxon hands. When you see Oswolf just like tear an ass ahead of you, something just distracts you. Your foot comes out of the stirrup, and you just fall off, and you take 1d6 damage. And your armor will not help you with that. So give us a 1d6 roll. Oh! Thwump! All right. So, unfortunately, by the time you get up, Oswolf and Tingir are at the edge. And now what is... Tingir, will you be gloating?
Over Oswolf or over Adwin or
Over
probably
Oswolf
over
first.
everybody.
Yeah.
He'll say something like, he says it in a friendly way, but he says something like, just like a Saxon, try to let him, wear himself out on the chase. And then I'll ride over towards Adwin's horse and try to, grab the reins so that she doesn't have to run after it.
All right. So the Oswolf, how are you feeling now? Knowing that you'll be cleaning stables, or...
Well, I'm pretty proud, but it was my idea, and I think as far as the concept of having hospitality be important, he did trick me, well and done, and so be it. But all of that talk immediately would be forgotten as soon as he finds out that Adwin is hurt, and he would rush back to try and help her with whatever happened to her.
Okay, so there is first aid in this game, and I think you're actually pretty good at it.
Exactly.
Or decent at it. So let's see here. Adwin, how are you feeling right now? You're still pretty hot under the collar, I imagine, because of your failed thing. And the first person who comes trotting up to you is this big burly Saxon. What do you say?
I say that... Let me see. Sorry, let me get the right.
Well, so mechanically,
with.
I'll just add, after you're disheartened, now that the task is over, you're now melancholic. Which means you may fall into a deep and morose depression, or fall on the ground weeping aloud, lamenting losses and ill luck, crying out in deep emotional pain, lost in morose feelings, both useless and dangerous. So that's why I grabbed the horse instead of trying to help Adwin, because she might actually attack Oswolf if he tries to help her.
Okay. So she is feeling morose. And oh boy. Here's what I'm gonna suggest is you roll on vengeful. And because if you are, then you will fly into a violent rage, and you are inspired during this, meaning you get plus 10 to your combat skill. But after 1d6 rounds... So let's see. Failure. Okay. So what do you think it is that... she is just... The thing about the knights that you're playing in this game, right, is that they're at the mercy of sort of their emotions and whatnot. That's part of the fun of playing the game, right? Big personalities that are sometimes detriments to themselves. So what do we see with Adwin when Oswolf offers to help?
No, I think... Let me just do one last one of...
Okay.
Let's try. She chokes down her bile and says, "For a Saxon, nonetheless, you did well." And then she turns on her heel and walks off.
Okay. So she says that through gritted teeth, I'm picturing.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. Through gritted teeth.
Will you let Oswolf treat your wounds? If so, he can, on a successful first aid check, he will restore 1d3 hit points.
She's not that generous.
I was going to say that Oswald will say, when she's storming off, he'll say, do not feel badly. The Tingar easily defeated both of us.
Okay.
There's no sense in walking back wounded.
Speaking of which, Tingir, you can tick experience for your horsemanship.
Cool.
And I think that both Oswulf and Adwin can tick their passions. I know yours fucked up. Oh no, yours fucked up, didn't it? So yeah, you know what? Actually, I think your hatred of Saxon goes down by 1. Because passions, one of the things about them is they are flexible, and on a fumble. Oh wait, did you roll nat 20 on your thing or not?
Just a failure.
Just a failure. So I don't think failure does that. But okay. So then, at this point, this is when, with Adwin storming off, leaving Oswulf in control of her horse, and Tingir riding up from behind, you guys can hear a clip, 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 as Lupinus comes riding in. And Lupinus, you can see the 3 other knights, or not knights, the 3 other squires are here. And what I'd like you to do is give us a suspicious check, please.
Like, what the heck are they doing, and why is one of them walking?
Why are you the last hearers? Okay. So, you're suspicious, sorry. Your suspicious should be 16.
Oh, it's because Adwin rolled suspicious also.
Oh, okay.
She's worried about Lupinus.
Oh, no!
Lupinus is not worried.
Okay, so I mentioned the fumble. Let's see here. Okay.
Fumbled suspiciousness?
Yeah. When you fumble a trait, I don't know what the consequence is. Do you remember, Arlen?
I will double check. I think it's just you stronger against it, right? Like
right, yeah.
A failure would be that you don't roll the other trait to check.
The opposed trait is checked.
And
you immediately act in accordance with the checked trait. So the opposite of suspicious is trusting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, you're
gonna tick trusting to see if I'm suddenly trusting.
No, you tick trusting because you'll make an experience roll on trusting. Your character is going to shift one probably towards trusting. But what is it like that? This is a pretty significant transformative thing for Lupinus. Is it that he finally is around, fellows, and he sees the sort of jocularity among them, or what? What is it that makes this shift in Lupinus's deeply suspicious nature?
I think he sees maybe he saw the more than just the end of the race. Like he'd kind of ridden up, and he'd seen the end of the race, and he'd seen Adwin, take the tumble, and watched Oswald, go up and try to make amends, and he's like, well, maybe this bunch isn't going to be so bad after all. And he was kind of worried about who they were going to be, and he built up in his head all these like possible outcomes and stuff. And he's like, wow, this big Saxon's trying to help, and it seems to be like they're having some fun. Maybe they're not going to be so bad after all.
Cool. All right. So then, Lupinus, how do you introduce yourself to Tingir, Oswulf, and Adwin, or do you want them to roll for awareness to see when they notice you?
I won't say anything. I'll just sit and watch and wait until they become aware.
So why don't Tingir, Oswulf,
up a little bit.
Yeah. Adwin, you're still suffering the -5, unfortunately. Why don't you each give us a awareness check? See who rolls best. A 1, a 4. A 4 and a 4. Let's give this to Adwin, though. So she turns around, and maybe like you turn around and you're about to say something else that you may regret, and then you see sitting there, about halfway down, because you guys are riding your way back towards Vhagar Castle, and you see that this other knight is sitting there, kind of, or not knight, other squire is sitting there, watching what's unfolding. What does Adwin do?
She looks at him and she sighs and says, "And another witness to my failure." But let me just do. Oh, and therefore, and now all I needed was some Roman looking at me as I fell off. But so, what are you doing here?
Oswulf and Tigger, you turn around and see Lupinus on his horse.
Yeah, Tinger prancing his horse around in circles around Oswulf, which is why he doesn't notice Lupinus until last.
What do you guys say?
Hey there. Welcome. Do we know he's coming or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah, you've known that there was a squire from London arriving.
A long trip. It seems you've come in late.
I was gonna like, a wizard is nipple late. Like, no, that's not my character. Late? Not so sure about late, but it has been a long journey. What are you doing here?
Oh, that rogue Tingir there concocted a plan and drew us all into it. But I, for one, am ready for a drink.
Concocted a plan, did he? But he secretly stole her saddle or saddle cinch?
Oh, something like that. If I'm to deal with these chamber
I'll not
pots.
stand for that sort of dishonorable talk about me. I won fair and square, Oswulf, and this dour fellow here, Oswulf, now gets to clean the latrines for a week. Isn't that right?
I most certainly wasn't saying that you were being deceitful in any way, but you certainly held back your familiar understanding of horseflesh.
Shouldn't we all have some understanding of that, of being squires?
But if you saw Tingir ride there, then you'd know it was more than just that.
Tingir, what's your pride or proud trait?
I think I'm proud. I'm proud 13. So let me do some pride checking. Yep. Another sort of prance around. And then I'll say, if Oswulf is looking for a drink, I think there's nothing better to do than return to the castle. Adwin, you can get yourself patched up and we can all have some beer or some mead or maybe some fine Roman wine. Hey, Lupinus?
I'm in agreement with such things.
Those Wolf's ears perk up at the prospect of wine.
Delicious.
Edwin, are you actually hurt from your tumble?
No. Hardly anything.
She sort of winces as she does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's sort of pensively looking at the ground and ignoring it.
I think Lupinus, why don't you give us a first aid check, whatever your score is. You know, she looks fine.
Yeah, you look right.
Yeah, she's a little banged up, but I'm sure Adam
Those
will be
grass
fine.
stains will wash out. Don't worry.
Exactly. The bruises are under the armor, under the leather jerkin.
Okay. So with that, guys, you, unless there's anything else, you guys can collect, if Oswulf passes the reins back to Adwin, you can mount up, and the four of you can go riding back into Vagor Castle. And as you ride in, you see old Elad, Sir Elad, waiting for you. And he also walks with a bit of a hunch as well too. whatever injury cost him his eye, he also apparently took quite a tumble off of a horse, and it didn't heal quite right, so he kind of walks with one leg heavier than the other. But he still has the frame of a massively powerful man. He was definitely an imposing, not as big as Oswulf, but an imposing and fearsome warrior in his day. And he looks up at you all and says, "You're all here then? Lupinus, yes?"
Indeed, sir.
Good. Good.
We had to stop the training.
Then, see yourself to the main hall. You'll be staying with the rest. Get your rest. And he looks at Oswulf. And go easy on the mead. Tomorrow, you meet the Quintains. And he turns and kind of limps off. You guys all know what... Your characters, I should say, all know what the Quintain is. But for those who do not... This is what you have to look forward to tomorrow.
Ha-ha!
So, what happens tonight, guys?
I think Oswulf is crestfallen by the admonishment by Sir Elad, and even more crestfallen that there's more horse crap to do tomorrow.
He'll be up early tomorrow for that. What about the rest of you guys?
I think it would be very light on the mead tonight, especially with what the sir had mentioned.
Okay. Tingir and Adwin?
Well, Adwin's always on the modest side, and given the bruises and the battering, she's off to her hayrick early.
Okay.
Strap herself, ribs up a bit, and...
So she can... I'm trying to think if I can't remember if you can do first aid on yourself.
I think it's a penalty if you do it on yourself, like just a -5 to try to... Plus the penalty for being wounded if you have a penalty for being wounded, so it's often not a good idea to do it.
Yeah. No, she's only light. That's only a light wound, so...
Yeah, but if you're bad off, right, then you take the double penalty.
Yeah.
For a directed trait, does it have to be specific to like a region or something like that, or can you?
Oh no, characters cannot apply first aid to themselves.
Oh, there we go. So
Sorry.
you, it can be what I mean. I'm fine with whatever whatever you want it to be.
So, I was thinking my character's fairly valorous, quite valorous. It's his second best score.
Yep.
And he's a pretty good fighter, but it would be kind of interesting if he was a little queasy at the sight of a lot of blood. Because in training you're using like blunted weapons and stuff like that. There's never a lot of blood, and it's like, oh yeah, I got this far in my squirehood, and then every once in a while someone gets really badly wounded, and he gets kind of like, got to check himself.
Okay, so that'd be like cowardly, bloods, like gore, I guess. Cowardly gore. So give us a 2d6. Let's see how powerful this directed trait is.
2d6?
Yes, please. Holy shit!
So he's super valorous, but then when the blood starts to spill, so does his lunch.
Oh my god! That's fabulous. Holy shit. So your valorous is 15, right? And your cowardly at the sight of blood is 16. Holy hell. Well, fortunately, this is one of my games, so you're never going to see blood, I'm sure. So
it'll all be just training swords and wooden... Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and then how about Tingir? What is Tingir doing tonight?
So Tingir, not only is he proud, he's got a bit of a lustful streak. So all the serving maids are gonna know just how badly he beat Oswulf in the race.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, so he definitely made sure that everyone is aware of his triumph. All right, so then, guys, the next morning.
So I was going to say something. I rolled this indulgent to see how I would feel about it. So Oswulf is certainly goes right along with everything Tingir says, and he's like, "Oh, it's true," and accepts it, and it takes all of his jibes on broad shoulders.
Yep. So you got a critical success on Indulgent. You can go ahead and tick that then too. And I think what that probably means is that you overindulge a little more than... You're not going to suffer any mechanical penalties for it, but you may get a chastising from Serialad as you're sort of keeping up with Tingir and bragging to the servants and whatnot. It just seems like they keep filling your cup. How can you be, to blame for this?
It's proper hospitality.
Exactly. So the following morning, it sounds like it would be either Lupinus or Adwin who is first in the courtyard, followed by Tingir, followed by Oswulf. If I have that wrong, tell me, but does that sound right?
Sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys walk out, and then Oswulf, Serialad finally comes down from the what do you call it, the gate, I guess, between the Mott and Bailey keep and then the actual courtyard. He looks you up and down. I thought so. Quintains! So, each of you know this. Lupinus, this is the first time you have seen this happen, but the rest of you know what needs to happen. You go kind of scampering over to the stables where you have your horses. You will need to retrieve those, and you guys will be running Quintains until Sir Elad says otherwise. So,
Lance work. I'm okay with some lance work.
It is definitely lance work. So everyone collect your lance, everyone collect your horse, and then let us see how this goes. Now, Tingir, I think yours might be the one where you have spear expertise.
Yeah, I have spear expertise instead of lance.
Yes, so that you can use that for lance or for spear.
Cool.
And I don't remember if I think everyone else might.
Adwin. I'm the same.
Same thing. Okay, so both of you
Spear
guys.
expertise.
Yep. And then do Lupinus and Oswulf, do you have just scores for lance?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Won't be using a spear ever.
All right.
So
So
2 in spear.
you guys line up, and then
That's all I have in lance. Sorry.
what do you have in lance?
That's all I have in lance is 2.
Oh shit!
Are you gonna try and use your axe on this thing while you're riding by? Because I don't know if
No.
if
I was thinking
knights
maybe-
will appreciate.
Maybe I didn't water my wine down this morning just to get a hair of the dog feeling to get over, so I can have a little help.
Yeah, the Quintains. You got bruising all across your back from the Quintains from before, because when you hit the thing, it swings the the sand-filled sack around and smacks you in the back, and the harder you hit it, the faster it comes. So you have to sort of measure it to have your shield up in time. This is just, I think your father was probably newly knighted, and this is just not something you grew up with, Oswald, so it does not come naturally. So, with all of you lined up, Serialad, once you guys have got your horses all set, your saddles, your shield, your practice lances, he looks you up and down, and he stops and... What's that? Do you... And he leans into your horse, Oswulf. What's that you say? Is it? Of course. And he pats the nuzzle of the horse. He says you're up first, Oswulf.
A slight groan. So if I did use my directed traits and did say that, do I get that bonus of what my trait was, or what for?
It modifies what your other trait rolls would be. So if you're making a roll...
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now. I should have known that. All right, anyway, so there's no way to help the lance.
We got 10% chance of succeeding here. And the nice thing is, if you succeed with such a shit roll, that you're pretty much guaranteed to get an experience check on it, which means you may improve it automatically by the end of the season. So, Now, Adwin and Tingir, I think, so you see Oswulf line up, and Lupinus, if you look at either of them, both of them, and you guys can tell me whether you would be like, oh boy, brace yourself for something. And Oswulf, give us a lance check when you are ready.
Here we go.
So, as is always the case, ba-doom, 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 and he's so big, he hits it so hard that it just slams him right in the middle of the back, and Sir Elad just...
I kind of imagine him being pretty big for his horse. So maybe oversized for the horse as well. So.
Yeah. Well, it's almost as if like the horse to accommodate your frame, it's like they're not in existence yet, but the destriers, the massive chargers, it's almost like you've got an oversized like draft horse type thing. So you hit and bam, it slams you again. And Sir Elad, well, we know it works. Who's next?
I feel Lupinus feels that because he's missed a day or two or maybe a week of training, he'll like kind of trot forward a touch to, I need to catch up kind of thing.
One moment here. There's something I just remembered too.
The ogres? Oh wait,
yeah, ogres. No, it's when you use skills successfully, Arlen, you should actually be getting glory from that awesome horsemanship roll.
I got a critical 2 on my horsemanship.
You lost the race, is the unfortunate thing.
Dang it!
No, you know what? You're absolutely right. You got more successes than you did failures, so you would get glory for it as well. Because...
Poor Adwin.
That's...
Sorry, Adwin's going to save all of us if we get into a real fight.
Give me a second here, guys. I just want to look it up because then 121, 128. Okay, because this is again part of the game, right? Is there's constantly sort of reinforcement of things you've done in game have react to your character. 10 points. So what I'll do is I will give each of you 10 points. Because of that coming from behind, Oswald, you go, oh, you guys both got criticals. I'll give you both 10 points of glory. So
we put that. Oh, here it is.
Yeah. All right. And Lupinus. Or, I guess, Lupinus, Adwin, or Tingir. Who is going next on the Quintain?
Lupinus
Okay.
nudges his horse forward to try and feel like he's got to catch up.
Okay. Go ahead.
Run it.
Hey.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
And you block. All right. We'll give you 5 glory for that. So you succeed. And Sir Elad kind of nods approvingly as first time he's seen a measure of your training. Adwin or Tingir, who wants to go next?
Adwin will go for it. She wants to try and prove something. So let's...
Nice. Success as well. 5 points of glory.
Lupinus gives her a nod.
Okay. And Tingir.
All right. Spear expertise. There we go.
So, of the 3 of you who were successful, Tingir struck the best blow. So, 5 glory for you, too. Good, says Sir Elad. Keep at it. Oswulf, you're next. Now, we don't need to keep rolling, guys. I think 1 roll is sufficient to give us a sense of what's happening throughout the day. So, Oswulf, if we cut to the end of the day, you find yourself quite bruised on the back. The rest of you seem to be doing okay from it. One of the things that will happen as well, guys, is, or one of the things that makes up life as a knight in the Arthurian Age is gossip. You'll notice that one of your skills is called intrigue. Intrigue is sort of you ingratiating yourself with the court and with the people that are there, and kind of picking up on the sort of, you know, the wagging tongues of the court. Now, the court at Vega Castle is not enormous, but there has been, you know, people coming and going. And what I'd like you guys to do is for each of you to give us a intrigue check, please. Oof.
Adwin's not into gossip.
Yep.
Can I just...
Hey!
Holy shit! Crit for Oswald! Awesome. Oswald, you take an experience point for that?
What if you have, like, no skill? Like, you have 0 points? Can you try?
Hold on. With certain cultures, there are other things that replace it.
Okay.
So let me just double check. I can't remember with Romans. I think there is something else that use law.
Gossip is beneath me.
Yeah. You use the single skill of law for courtesy, folklore, or intrigue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that orate or is that...
Law will be right at the
Law.
bottom. I think it's LAW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Added in different text. Okay.
Okay.
What skill would he be?
Law.
No, but what's his
It
number?
is-
in law? Oh, he already had it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's already in there. Okay. So I think so that's a great success by Oswolf. So one of the things with Big Oswolf that you guys may not have noticed is while he is, you know, he's sort of the unassuming, harmless Saxon, as it were. So long as you haven't seen him working that great axe of his, he could be seen as sort of an easy ear to talk to. And Oswolf, as a result of that, has an enormously, good feel on what is really going on in court and around the castle. In fact, I think Tingir, those the common folk that you were and the servants that you were introduced to, I think it's Oswolf who introduced you to the prettiest. So you guys are here, and I think what Oswald, this is probably when you were busy at your at your task that you won from what's his name, from Tingir.
Tingir.
And what you see is there is a small group of riders who arrive late in the day and are stabling their horses. And as they are, you get a very brief look at the crest that adorns the tabard of one of those. And what I'd like you to roll is, and I'll give you a +5 to this because of your awesome... Actually, give you +10. Guys, it's a critical, and this game tends to swing big with stuff.
Heraldry?
No, actually, I think it's recognize. Either heraldry or recognize. If you want to try and recognize the crest, you can do that. If you want to recognize the person, you're going to roll recognize. Either of those is fine by me. Wow, really good roll too. Okay, so you see this thing, and I don't have the... Let's make it up here. What you can see, the heraldry you don't recognize. It is a marking of a castle with 3 stars around it, or a tower with 3 stars around it. But you recognize the face of this man because you've heard about him. This is Sir Blaine's, the steward of Lev Kamagus. And I'll put that in chat for you. And with a roll that good with recognize, you know that this man... Let me show you a picture of what this young knight looks like. Get rid of Sir Elad here. And where is he?
I don't even see Levkomakis on here.
It may be further, maybe outside of Salisbury.
Mm.
In fact, I think it is outside of Salisbury, but where is he? Where is he? There he is. But you can tell from the robe that he wears over it. This is what Sir Blaine's looks like. And he has finely tailored or finely crafted chainmail underneath as well, too. He has his cloak pulled over his tabard as if trying to conceal it. And, oh boy, you are many things, but not inconspicuous. Would you give us a dex check, please? Amazing. So, Oswald, what that tells me is that if you want to, you can remain hidden from this guy.
Well, I'm not very deceitful, so maybe I'll make a roll on honesty to see.
Sure. Oh, let me tell you. Sorry, I forgot. The reason I wanted you to make that roll. You definitely recognize Sir Blaine's. And the reason that that's important is because Sir Blaine's is said to have a deadly feud with Earl Roderick that dates back to when both were young men and when they were courting Earl Roderick's wife, Lady Ellen.
So Earl Roderick is the Lord of Salisbury?
Yes, Earl Roderick is the Lord of Salisbury. He owns all these castles, but his seat of power is at Sarum. And this is Sir Blaine's. And Sir Blaine's, most certainly, he has sworn a deadly oath against the Earl. Strange that he's here.
I think I will just stay hidden then.
So he finishes up. He says something very curt words to his squire, and then he leaves, accompanied by one other man who looks like this. And one thing the illustration does not have right is at his neck, it's not a stone that's there. It is a Celtic-style Christian cross, marking him as a member of the British Church. So, Oswulf, you see that Sir Blaine's squire quarters the horse, takes the saddle off and whatnot. You can feel free to approach him if you want, or you can ignore him and go and tell your friends what you've seen. What would Oswulf do?
I think this is an opportunity to talk to the squire. That it would be silly for him to skip.
Okay.
So, wait a second. Why do I have a mark on intrigue? Did I do an intrigue already? Oh, I did. That's how I got this. Okay, never mind.
Yep.
I was like, well, wait a second. I think I want to see if I can get any information out of him. Like, hey there. I see you have accompanied the Lord. What business do you have in Votan? Vortan?
Vagor Castle.
Vagon. I think it's Vagon.
Is it
Vagon
Vagon?
Castle.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vagon Castle. Forgive me. Okay. So you walk up on him. Let's see here.
As I'm mucking out the stable, right? So maybe I
Yeah.
just look like a stable boy or something. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely a boy. You're, a head, maybe 2 heads taller than this kid.
Stable dude.
Maybe a little unstable.
So you walk up, and why don't you give us an intrigue? Well, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to be friendly with him? Are you trying to wheedle something out of him? What are you thinking? What's the approach here?
I think it's like I say. I'm pretty honest. I'm not very deceitful. Of course, I don't want to get on the bad side of Sir Blaine, so I think I would just be friendly with him. I mean, because that's part of the. Yeah.
So I think why don't you give us a courtesy roll then?
Intrigue is being deceitful, or what?
Intrigue is picking up. So intrigue is picking up stuff in like trying to wheedle stuff out in court. Maybe that is what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah? Sure. Give us an intrigue roll then. You're just doing it in a friendly way.
Oh no! That was bound to fail.
Not
eventually.
a crit then. So let's play this out. So we know it's going to fail. But what you could do is, you fail. I think I'm going to roll an intrigue. We'll make this contested because it is 2 things working against each other. Do you guys want me to roll in chat, or you want me to roll individual?
Chat. All right, in chat. I don't care.
You got it. Okay, so let's see how he does. I don't know what his score would be one way or the other, so he's probably got like a 4.
Oh.
So he failed, but not by as badly as you. So you...
did he fail worse than me?
He did
He
not.
missed
You
it by
failed
14?
No, it's
I missed it by 9?
Yeah, you rolled higher, unfortunately. So what happens is you walk over, and this young lad kind of... he looks back and sees you there and says, "Oh, good day." And he goes back to, he's, running the brush along the horse.
Oh, are we RPing now? I got confused.
Yep.
We skip back and forth between mechanics and role play.
Yeah, because the mechanics informs how the scene's going to play out. In the same way that, like, when we
Okay.
roll reaction in AD&D, it tells us sort of what the starting point is. So, what do you say?
Hey there. Welcome to Vagon Keep. Have you traveled far?
Oh, good day. Some distance, yes. The road has been long. It's good to have a proper stable again. I'm Owain. What is your name?
Yeah, what is mine? Oswolf.
Okay, let me... Oswolf. I'm going to roll Vengeful. Oh, I got to do it in chat. Hold on. Cheating. Vengeful is probably 10. So he looks up at you, and, I mean, you're used to the reaction from people to Saxons, but he... Well met, Oswolf. Your name is... You're a squire here? Seconded to Sir Ilan?
Yes. Fairly newly arrived, but a squire, yes, of course. The same as you, right?
I hope, yes, indeed. Your lord sent you here, then?
Yes, correct.
Then, if you are here, knighthood must be imminent for you, then.
Is it? I don't know.
Probably, yeah. If they sent you over for the last kind of training, this is what the last thing...
Oh, yeah, you did say it was our final training, yes.
Yeah. That is a far
Aye,
off...
God's willing.
Yeah. He I don't think picks up on the plural that you have of that. And he's missed the hammer symbol that you've got around your neck. And he says, that is a long road off from me. And he seems to be taking it out on the brushing of the horse.
Oh, only started your training then?
I became squire to Sir Blaine's 5 years ago. He still seems to feel I am unworthy.
Sir Blaine's, is it? Unworthy, how so? You seem to brush that horse quite well.
Oh, well, as I'm sure is the case with you, my duties, it is, if I am to be a knight, I must be reliable.
Of course, reliability is important. Surrey lad drills that us into daily, I say. Daily.
Indeed. How long have you been here, then?
Less than a month.
Soon, then. Well, I wish... I cannot lie that I envy your position here, but perhaps in time. Perhaps in time. Is there anything you want to try and specifically get out of this kid? Or
yeah, I was just gonna lead into that. Maybe if I can find out who this priest is, I may know what their business is in Bargon Keep.
Yeah. So, do you ask about the?
Yeah, Vagon Keep. I'm like, Sir Blaine's had a interesting. He traveled with a priest.
Yes. Brother Sinon. I'll put the spelling. Or Kainon, I guess.
A dark-looking man.
Why don't you give us a recognize roll there, Oswolf? Let's see if you remember.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. You know what I'm going to say is, rather than, because I'm not going to give you fake information because we'll all know that that's fake and that's not really a lot of fun to just go along with, that. Instead, I'm going to say that this kid's going to mention this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't know Brother Kainon means nothing to you. You never heard of that. But the, I don't, he doesn't really offer more beyond the name.
Like maybe it's pretty obvious now that I've turned him some way. So maybe it's time to end this discussion.
Okay.
Wish the best to you then, lad.
Thank you. Hay is in the loft then?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Oswolf. A pleasure. And he goes off to get Hay out of the loft. So when Oswolf, you guys would all be staying in effectively like the common hall. You guys would all be sleeping in there as opposed to having like quarters in this is Dark Ages Britain, not it's something that there's in their core rulebook. They talk about what like travel arrangements would be like for the characters, and like there's a lot of like, well, if you can't find somewhere, you sleep on the ground. So nights are a lot less glamorous at this stage.
Who's the lord here?
Sir Elad. This is
it is Sir Elad.
Yeah, okay. Earl Roderick controls this castle and owns the castle. Mm-hmm. So Earl Roderick would be the lord of the castle, but Sir Elad is watching the keep for him.
All right, so I think Oswald will come in, and maybe he didn't even wash himself all that well, and smelling a bit of urine and a bit of hay hanging in his hair.
Yep.
And he's like, Tinga.
Mm-hmm.
I see you've been lolling about here. I thought you were more energetic than that, but I have news. Gather the others. Obviously, I love to gossip myself. I'm an intriguing guy.
Totally.
Okay. So I'll pop up and go over Adwin and Lupinus, and I'll say, like, Oswolf has gossip, and he wants to tell us all.
Jeez.
Oh, Lupinus. That strikes me as a suspicious thing, right? Maybe this place is no different from your home.
There's always something to be suspicious of.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe where Oswald got his gossip from.
Yeah, who could possibly figure that out?
Yeah.
He smells of horse shit and still wears the stains of his labor.
Been talking to your horse again, Tingar?
Okay.
No, I was talking with Oswolf.
No, but has he been talking to your horse again?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't tell me. He apparently thinks we should all hear at the same time.
Without question. It deals with Sir Elad. Hey, hand me the pitcher, Adwin.
So, Oswald, what do you communicate to them?
I think that he's kind of excited and curious of what, because he's going to announce, it's Sir Blaine's, the steward of Lav Kamagas has come, and he doesn't expect them to know who that is. And he came with a British priest, and as you know, he has a grave hatred of Earl Roderick. Do you suppose he's come to convince Sir Elad to join him in some scheme against the Earl?
Okay.
What? And I would say, what's the which priest? What's his name? Do you think there's a chance I might recognize him, being a devout British Christian myself?
Mm-hmm. That strikes me as something where you would get a +5 to your recognize.
The squire said his name was Brother Kainan, I believe. He meant nothing to me.
Okay. Brother Kainan. So, Sir Blaine's and Brother Kainan are from further to the north. They are not from Salisbury, from a different county. What you've heard of Brother Kainan, who is also known as the Scarred Priest, is that he was grievously injured in a Saxon attack upon his community and his church. And while he has not been disloyal to the Pendragon, and the Pendragon is the sort of the native, what do you call it? The native word for kind of like emperor or high king. Aurelius Ambrosius is recognized as the high king by the Church of Britain, the Pendragon. But what you've heard is that Brother Kainan is a eager agitator against the Pendragon. He blames him and his failure to keep them safe for causing the loss of his church, the loss of his community, and the scars that disfigure his face. So it may not be, knowing what Oswald has shared about Sir Blaine's, they may have found natural allies with one another against because Earl Roderick is a loyal and powerful supporter of the Pendragon.
Maybe Elad's his own wounds or whatever caused him to be hurt makes him more susceptible to their wiles.
Could be, yeah. I'm not sure. I wonder what measure of Sir Elad you guys have gained.
Other than he's kind of an a-hole?
He is kind of he's kind of an asshole to you, for sure, Oswolf. And whether that is because of your ancestry, or whether that's because he's just being a tough trainer, who knows?
So have we heard anything of him bad-mouthing Sir Roderick?
The priest, no. From what you know of him is that he has many friends within the church, and he's not the thing about the British Church is the British Christian Church does not have a central authority the way that the Roman Church does. The Roman Church, there's a hierarchy and everyone answers to the Pope. So there can be competing bishops, but ultimately there is someone who kind of says what goes and what does not go. The British Church isn't like that. It's diffuse, and there are power centers between different things. And the scarred priest, Brother Kynan, he seems to have some sway with a powerful faction, particularly in the northern part of Logres.
And Sir Elad, is he an enthusiastic vassal of Sir Roderick, or?
The fact that he has been left in charge of Vagon Castle, it says a lot about him, and the fact that other lords trust him to effectively complete the training of their squires also says a lot about his martial competence. So he seems to be well thought of, and he wouldn't be in this position unless he was valued by Earl Roderick. The other thing, too, is he definitely, Oswald, your impression of him, or at least how he treats you, is definitely that way. He is not abusive, though. He's closer to, like, non-abusive drill sergeant, more so than, being a genuine bigot.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you guys make of it? Another drink?
Oswald's already pouring himself one.
Mm-hmm.
Minus has only had one sip, and he's not sure what to think of it. Very strange activity, for sure. We need to find more information, perhaps. Is there anybody that we could speak to?
If this was a Scooby-Doo game, we could go and try and listen ourselves, but it seems a little risky for... kind of reckless, though.
No,
you want to make
maybe
a reckless?
Maybe I could go and visit the scarred priest.
Yep. You guys could also... one of the skills you guys have is something called folklore. Folklore is used basically as your social skill with common folk.
Is there another replacement for that?
Law. You use law. As a Roman, you use law as a replacement for that, too. Yeah, the intrigue, courtesy, and folklore all become law instead for them.
Romans?
Yep.
Interesting.
And Adwin, you can tick the experience box for recognize.
Oh, good. Cool.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Yeah, there's a number of different options, as you said here. Why don't we do this? We're actually, I see we're already at our midway point. Why don't we take our mid-session break? You guys can think about what the different options are here, sneaking in, talking to the priest, working the peasants that Oswulf and Tingir have come to know, and then we'll find out what happens when we get back.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Anna Banana did not want to come in, and then when she realized it was too cold to still be outside, she was doing the little, like, tripod thing to make her way in, because her feet were too cold. Okay. Howdy, everyone. Oh boy, there's lots of folks in chat. Hi, everyone. I hope the weekend is treating you well, and I hope you guys are enjoying our Pendragon, our maiden voyage into Pendragon. All right. Let's see here. Is there anything we need to look up that we fucked up so far, guys? I wonder. Yeah, so heraldry is used for that. Recognize we did use correctly. Let's see. Okay. Are there any skills that you guys have used that have not been ticked off yet that are kind of important that we used thus far? I don't know.
That we used successfully?
Yeah, that you successfully. Let me get one thing set up here. Oh, did I forget? Nope. Excellent. Okay. Alrighty. Get this out of the way. Alright, guys. So, Oswolf has brought you this gossip. And what juicy gossip. What are you guys thinking here? We won't take action until Hobbs gets back, but what direction are you guys leaning here? Do you feel this is any business or responsibility of your own, or do you think that this is just interesting gossip that's happened?
It sounds a bit sinister in a way. You wouldn't expect a deep, dark enemy of the suzerain to be here. So
all of your lords are sworn vassals of the Earl. So
I think I'd probably, since I don't know anything about this Sir Blaine, but since I vaguely heard of the priest, maybe I'll go and have a word with the priest and see if I can find out a bit more why they're there.
Okay. All right, Anna, come on. Where's your ball? Where's your ball?
What kind of skills would be like if you wanted to go sneaking around?
That is dexterity. There actually isn't a skill. Dexterity doubles for a lot of kind of non skill based stuff, non knightly stuff, I should say.
So I want to be. But I've been sent here to be good and learn and become a knight. Maybe that's not my path. Oh, it's so tough to decide.
Yeah, you know what? It sounds like a quandary. Why don't let's check your suspicious trait.
This is too suspicious for me. I think we should dig into this further.
So, dexterity roll opposed by awareness. That is generally what sneaking is, how that works. Abundant cover, ambient noise, and stuff like that could give you +5 up to +10. So, and then like places where it's really hard to keep up would be -5 to your roll. But I think Lupinus is quite dexterous, from what I recall.
Yeah, it's better than his size, strength, or con. So.
Okay. So Adwin is thinking of trying to meet up with Brother Kynan. What about Oswolf and Tingir? What are you guys thinking?
So Lupinus is going to follow them? Or something? He's sneaking around somewhere?
Well, they've made their way up to the keep. And you guys are down in the in kind of the circular area, the main level.
I say we tap the servants for information.
Okay.
They heard anything?
Yeah, I think that's all. Go with Oswald and work on that. I think.
Then...
You know what? Actually, I think Lupinus is going. When Adwin says she's going to go and talk to the priest, he's going to follow her, and then maybe when she's done her conversation with the priest, he'll just linger and see what transpires after.
Okay. Adwin, you go ahead and give yourself 10 glory for that to recognize as well, too. You've demonstrated excellent knowledge of the British Church, so... Then, let's do this. So Adwin was going to meet with a scarred priest. Why don't you give us... How do you see that sort of working out? They seem...
I'll go along and, as a ardent member of the church, and ask for his input on life generally, and the life of a squire, and then slip in there. Why is he here? Because he's not from hereabouts.
Okay, so I see that having two parts to it. One of them is to get access to him, and one of them is to try and intrigue some information out of him. Does that sound right?
Okay.
So I think so. Then the first thing you need to do is to gain access to him, and I think that's probably courtesy. Because I totally buy the, like, look, I'm a member of the British Church. I want to, do confession. And, holy shit. Okay, so, wow. Let's see here. What is the painfully obvious thing that you have done? I think what it will come across as is, like, it's going to be something that
I'm trying to pump him with something.
Well, I think it's so obvious that you want to meet with him and want to talk to him. Like, it isn't credible in the least. So what do you think that represents? All
right. I think he'll be... is it going to be something like different bits of the British Church? And that I'm of some other faction? He's from the far north, and...
I think it's more so that it's obvious you don't want to meet with him for the right reason. That you're just trying to be nosy. And so maybe, like, you send this message along, and then who ends up coming is, when the door opens and you're hoping, like, okay, now I'm going to meet with this priest and I'm going to talk to her, and then the door opens and this is who you see looming before you. And he looks down at you and says, I would have thought an aspirant to knighthood would have found more important things to do than to busy herself with the dealings of her betters.
I apologize, Sir Elad. It was just strange to see some people from another, so far away coming to the town, and
curiosity.
I was just curious about this.
And chattering gossip is more befitted to a woman in lace at court. Are you certain your shoulders are fit for chainmail, Adwin? Maybe he says Lady Adwin. That's a real way of kind of needling it in.
Let's see, with a... Oh, damn.
Shit.
So, I guess you speak right, Sir Elad. I'll go back and work on my knighthood, my swordsmanship, and I'll keep my nose out.
And perhaps still your tongue. And he turns and the door closes behind him, and you find yourself. I don't know, how's Adwin feeling now?
Oh, a bit burned, I think. A bit burned.
Okay.
This is not a good. This is not going well. It's a good thing that she's modest and yeah, modest and temperate.
Definitely. Okay, so Lupinus, what was that roll for?
Well, because he said he was going to follow her, and when she gets in and talks to the priest, he was going to wait around till after she left, and hoping that the priest would, divulge some real information to whoever he talks with afterwards.
So did he tell Adwin that that's what was going to happen?
No.
So Adwin, why don't you give us a awareness roll, please? One of your skills. Top.
Or should I roll a deceitful check?
So I think Lupinus, you are well hidden here, and Adwin turns, and it sounds like modesty won out here. So she's not like pouting or angry or whatnot. There's no doubt some embarrassment there, but she's definitely taken his words to heart. But you see her, you've witnessed this humiliation. What do you do, Lupinus? It's your choice as to whether she knows that you're there or whether you just are aware of this embarrassing interaction and you leave it. So that's more truthful than deceitful. What do you think?
Thinking when he gets a chance, he'll go to her side and let her know it wasn't her fault, and that
so
the plan, maybe it's more our plan itself to step outside of our normal realm is more at fault than what she tried to do.
Okay. So then, and then like the film version of this would see Adwin have that scene with Sir Elad. She would leave, and then Sir Lupinus would step out of the shadows once everyone has gone, and have look after her. Oswulf and Tingir, what do you think you guys were doing in relation to the commoners? How do you think you would be approaching this?
Go ahead, Arlen.
Well, so Tingir is kind of uncharacteristically subdued, I think, mostly because he knows that Oswulf is much better at talking. Tingir's really good at talking. He's not very good at listening. So he's doing his best to give Oswulf a chance to actually do the information pumping and not, completely just blurt out what they want and spoil the game. But it seems like we could go and talk to like the servants in the hall or something like that, and ask where's it seems like one of the first things we could ask is, are the travelers staying in like the guest quarters in the castle, or are they just passing through or anything like that?
Okay.
What do you think, Oswulf?
Tingers, it's the kitchens we must go to. I wouldn't mind finagling a biscuit, and perhaps the ladies there may have information on how long they'll be here, if they have to make extra food or not.
I defer to your knowledge of what's going, but really, I think there's lots of places we could ask. So let's hurry it up. And
so who has a better folklore score?
Oh, this is folklore?
Yep.
Oh, I have a 4.
I only have a 2, so.
So who would like to make the roll then?
I will. I don't care.
We could try to. So, depending to kind of step out of character for a second, if we really think that something is going on with like Sir Elad might betray her or Roderick, we could try to make like a loyalty lord passion check to really dig down deep and make success. But that's a little dangerous, of course, because you might fail at getting any information or anything like that, or fail your passion, or we don't necessarily know that anything untoward's going on. I've only got Oswald's word that this is. I don't know about Sir Blaine's at all because I failed my recognized checks. So I just have heard a little bit of a rumor about him and Earl Roderick, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. And what Oswald has told you as well.
And what Oswald has told me,
Yeah.
but who knows how good his information is.
Most certainly. So, what do you think? You want to draw on a passion, or are you just going to roll against 4?
Yeah, let's draw. Let's do it. I will do it. Now, would this be loyalty, Lord? It would be Sir or Lad, or it would be like our fathers, or it doesn't matter.
It is. I mean, by you are sworn to your lords. I mean, you don't have an actual oath, but you're hoping to be selected to swear an oath to them as a knight. Then that loyalty also goes to the crown, to the Pendragon. And if Sir Blaine's is an enemy he is sworn to the Pendragon as well, but if he is an enemy of the Earl's the next line from your lord up towards where the Pendragon is. So, yep.
Yeah, I'll do it because I certainly want to. First of all, I'm reckless as all get out, and proud, and I want to do all these things. And valorous, right? I mean, this seems valiant to attempt to ferret out some evil scheme against our Lord Roderick. So here we go.
Here we go.
Oh no!
So close. Oh my god. Oh, so it's -5.
So negative. Yeah, so it's
negative.
negatives.
You can still succeed on a 1, but go ahead and make your roll for.
All right.
Come on.
Here, let me -5. Oh. Natural 20.
20 on top of that.
When are we going to start fighting? Jeez.
Oh my god. So, let's think what happened here. So, first, you had a crisis.
He almost seems overzealous, right, about what's going on. Like, well, we got to find out, and maybe that's pretty obvious to anyone he's talking to.
You know what I think is in keeping with your trait, and I'll leave it to you to make the decision. I think what ends up happening.
Oh, I got drunk.
Just got like obliterated drunk trying to meet with them, and then just became like an embarrassment of like, just tell me what's happening up there.
All right, I like it.
Come on. So I think that where this, what do you think happens when, so do you think he is discovered? We've already had Sir Alad show up in one scene, and this feels like something more personal to Oswulf. So maybe he, what happens is he's gone off from Tingear, leaving them behind, and maybe this is out by the stables. He kind of comes to with vomit on him, and he realizes the crushing failure that he's had, not only in trying to ferret out the support, but also the disloyalty to his lord. Did you say something that would compromise him? Why can't you remember? It's a complete haze of alcohol right now. But
boy,
you've got a nagging feeling that you did something to compromise your lord. Ugh. Tingear, how long do you think you would have waited before you went in search of Oswulf? I'm picturing this as sort of like the cock crows, and that's when Oswulf wakes up in this mess, and you haven't seen him all night.
Yeah, so we probably have, a scene. Tingear shows up. Adwin and Lupinus are having a heart-to-heart about Adwin's thing. Lupinus trying to make her feel better. Tingear shows up and says, well, Oswulf is just a complete wreck. I guess we gotta find him now, right? Guys, come on. We can't just let him. Who knows what trouble he could get into. He was very drunk when I left for perfectly good reasons, because he had that that glint in his eye that how Saxons can be, that kind of fury. in him. I felt like we could all be, with the serving women, he would be nice, but with me, he might have pulled out that. Come on, guys, we got to go find Oswulf.
Yeah, because this isn't just going to look poorly on him; it's going to look poorly on all of us.
I mean, come on. Part of knighthood is sticking with your fellows.
And I don't mean that in the wrong way, Adwin. Lupinus realizes he just if one goes down, we all go down, and he just finished trying to spend all the time to convince her that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. And I can't be responsible for just, beating every single thing that Sir Elad throws at us in training. We have to work together. So come on, guys. Where do you think we should start? I mean, he was very drunk, and then he left, and I have no idea which direction he went in because I was not there when he left because I had decided to get away from the angry Saxon. So, Adwin, do you want to take? Maybe I'll take the stables. Adwin, you could take the kitchens, and Lupinus, you could take the Great Hall and the surrounding environs. See if he, crawled into his sheets and had a chance to sleep it off. Maybe. We'll reconvene here.
How do you think Oswulf, because keeping in mind that once you've failed, you have that penalty, but then when you transition out of that scene, you go into that melancholic state. Yeah, so what do you think? Is he rage-inducing? Is he weeping? How do you think he's...
More cups.
No, I feel like maybe he's just kind of hiding now in the stable. And afraid to show his face after this, especially after talking to Blaine's page, his squire, and this idea that it might set him back somehow if he did anything, and how upset his father would be, and all the work that he's gone to so far could easily be ruined in some silly scheme.
So he's maybe who said that? Did you say someone was going to the stables, Tingir?
I was going to offer to go to the stables because I know he's been working there after our bet. And it, out of character, it sort of seems like I should be the one to find Oswulf. And yeah.
So I think when you get to the stables, there's two. Well, the first thing you find is that there is no sign of Sir Blaine's horse or those of his allies. If they made a departure, it was either early in the morning or perhaps in the night. And of course, that only rogues sneak out in the night.
Yep.
But Oswulf, am I correct in thinking that he may hear a soft sobbing?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll leave it to you guys to say what happens next. So Tingir, you do hear that.
So I'll kind of look around. I'm partly trying to figure out where the sobbing is coming from, and partly trying to figure out if anybody else is around, because I don't want Oswulf embarrassed further. But once I've got a sort of idea, I'll sort of move over in that direction and find him in one of the slats or something. I don't know what they call the spots where they put the horses, but parking spaces for the horses.
We've already established my bona fides.
Horse garage. Stalls.
Yeah, the horse garage. Get up to the top level of the parking garage for the horses and look out over the landscape with Oswulf.
Yep.
The loft? You want to be in the loft or a stall?
Wherever you are, man. Where is Oswulf?
Probably up in the loft makes some sense.
Yeah, so I'll climb up the stairs or the ladder, get up there.
And there's this, in the corner, curled up with some of the hay, is this enormous man holding himself.
In the fetal position.
So Tingir is not at all sure how to approach this sort of situation. This isn't his specialty, but he sort of raises a hand and tries to get Oswulf's attention. And does Oswulf look up at him, or does he?
Can I suggest something?
Sure.
You know what trait check would probably help with this? An energetic. trait check. You want him to get over.
Energetic. That would probably be good. Let's see how energetic I am now.
The reason I mentioned the energetic, actually, not for you to make the roll. You're already doing the thing. He may need to pull himself together. And there is that song you heard whispered in your ear as a child that offers a bonus to energy.
Yeah. So what I'll do my kind of wave thing, try to get him to look up at me. And then I'm going to go over and grab the ladder from the top and kind of pull it up so that nobody disturbs us, and put it behind me. And I'm going to kind of sit down across from him and start to quietly sing this sort of haunting song and try to give Oswolf Oswolf, I don't expect to know what him to know what it means, but to him to have some well of strength that he can draw upon to pull himself together. So let's see how the song goes.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So he's trying to get you to kind of pull yourself out of this, Oswolf. Why don't you give us a energetic check?
It was my first thought that Oswolf is purposely ignoring him, but having another man come to sing to you, that seems like someone's certainly trying to do something here. So, nope, not happening.
Okay.
Did you come to bring my belongings? Am I being sent back? Is this song some sort of haunting farewell?
So, Lupinus and Adwin, let's add you to the scene as well, too. I think that you guys have looked where you wanted to look. Someone maybe have mentioned the stables. And you guys have come in, and you can hear the sound of Tingir singing his, his little, that song in Gaelic or Cymric or whatever.
The Reverie.
Yeah. And you very quickly realize where he is. And then you hear the big Saxons, thing asking if he's being sent back. So, would you guys do anything to add to this?
Okay, so
Drop down the ladder, Tingir.
all right, so Tingir's gonna drop down the ladder and say, all right, guys, get your shields ready because I'm not sure how this is gonna work. And then I'm gonna stand up and say, Oswolf, come on, snap out of it, man. We need you. We need you right now. This is we've gotta do like real knights, right? We can't let ourselves get down by just a little bit of, a couple failures or a couple of follies, right? Real knights go back into battle and they face their fears. And what I'm trying to do is to snap out of it using my Valorous.
Nice. So here's what I'll do. Do you have oratory?
I do.
Go ahead and give us an oratory check.
All right. Orate.
So all it means is I'm not going to give Oswolf a +5 to it. Oswolf, do you think that would be effective on you? Trying to play on your get back in there kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly valor is something Oswald is very important to him.
Yeah. So go ahead and give us a valorous check, please.
That's 8 in a row, 15 or above, by the way.
Jeez.
8 failure.
Hey.
You can put a check mark next to valorous. And what do we see?
Yeah, he slowly gets up and shakes the stuff from him. Well, no need to stand like that. I suppose you're right. I could use a bath. Let's get back in there and see what Surrey Lad has in store for us. Did he say anything?
Curiously not. You guys have not seen him yet today.
We haven't seen Surrey Lad around. I mean, we have been looking around, a little bit and haven't been in our usual places, but we it is weird that he hasn't come looking for us.
I, for one, am glad not to be seeing him. So Oswald, if you need feel so bad, Sir Elad's already got enough venom for me without worrying about you.
He's not gonna go send you packing in lace. Just strap your gear on and we'll get this done.
Yeah, I think everybody go and clean yourselves up and get some armor on, and we'll go act like nothing's wrong and go back to quintaining, I guess. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So you guys following my lead.
And I think what you guys hear at that point is someone from the central square. Squires! Where are my squires?
No time to clean up. Grab your gear and let's go.
Okay.
Right.
So once again, so you guys all make your way down, and you find Sir Elad more animated than usual, kind of making his way, looking back and forth. And when you guys walk over, he sees you. He says, "There you are. What were you doing in the stables? You won't need those horses today. I have
Cleaning
something."
up, my lord.
What was that?
Cleaning up, my lord.
He looks up and down with his one eye. It appears you could have used more cleaning. No time for that, though. No time. Now, tell me, which among you have hunted bear? And we'll cut from there, guys. Just to give you some info dump here. What you guys are being tasked with is an actual quest. So rather than just training and doing your other stuff, he has something specific in mind for you. It appears, let me move you back to the map of Salisbury. In the north of Salisbury, there is a small town called Imber. It appears that Imber and the Blakemore Wood on its borders have been beset by a man-eating bear. This is something that the locals have been unable to deal with, and something appropriate for a group of young squires to do to prove not only their worthiness to be knighted, but also a way of earning glory for themselves and their families. Imber is about a day or so's travel away. The most direct route to get there is actually up the road. I think it's called the Glastonbury Way. Then through Tillshead, and then overland to Imber. You will not be using practice spears and lances. This thing is said to have killed nearly 10 grown men. A thing of fearsome power. And where it came from, one can't say, but left to run amok, it could wreak havoc on the people of Imber. And this is what knights are for. Protect the weak. So the way that Sir Elad presents it is not so much as an option as it is, this is what you are doing. So, what do you guys say in response? Have you any questions for Sir Elad?
Right away, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Advin's full of energy at this. This is a chance to prove itself again.
Yep.
Lupinus was wondering if Andy was going to mention the all the horses that were missing and all the intrigue from the night before, and everybody's just all tight-lipped. He's like, no, same thing.
Okay. And Tingir?
Yeah, let's go. Gather our weapons and head out.
All right. So you collect your things, and how does, now that you have the task before you, the ones who have been really put upon by last night's events really seem to be Oswulf and Adwin. How does having a task before them, a quest even, how does that affect their moods?
That's another opportunity for sure. So I think that, and there was definitely a feeling of something horrible about to happen anyway, and having sidestepped that, or having the fates steer things in my direction, Oswulf is gung-ho.
Excellent.
Yeah, similar for Adwin. Plays to her energetic and valorous side. This is a chance to prove herself again after embarrassing herself earlier.
Okay.
Multiple times.
So, you guys get on your squires. The Curboil. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Actually, Dave, you're an armorer. How do you pronounce Curboil?
Queel.
Queel, is that what it is? Queel boar?
Queer bouillie. Boiled leather.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce that. Is there an anglicized version of that?
I mean, it's hardened leather.
Probably queer bouillie or something like that.
The actual
I've never heard anyone say it out loud.
Yeah, I neither.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before we went live, and I'm like, I don't know how to say this word. Oh boy. Then, guys, what we'll cut to is so we will see a bit of a montage of you guys making your way across country. You're traveling through many of the, the other places some places you are welcome to sleep in barns, some places you have to sleep out under the stars. Till's Head is a fairly big town as well, too, and we can see you guys making your way through. Lupinus, you likely are the one most comfortable navigating the cities and whatnot. But then we see you riding into the mountains, separating yourselves and Imber, or hills, I suppose, not mountains. And the ride from the road between Till's Head and West Lavington is from the road and then towards Imber is some beautiful overland travel. To give you an idea of how far you can go, it is, I think, 1 day's ride from Vagon to Chittern. In the core rulebook, there's a kind of how long it takes to get everywhere. So it's 1 day from Vagon to Sarum. So it's probably, 1 day, maybe 1 day to Till's Head, and then 1 day to Imber. So 2 days of travel. And as you guys are riding into the village of Imber, would you guys go ahead and give us a stewardship roll?
Oh,
yeah, look at that. We got a 1.
So close.
Go ahead and tick your stewardship. And what you can tell Tingir is just the Imber is really not a very rich place, like even in comparison to other small things. The fields are small, and judging by the hides stretched to dry, much of the income is from hunting. And rather than a stream, it has a spring pond, and even the mill is ox-driven. So this place is really more of a... You guys coming riding in with your armor and your wonderful horses are definitely a source of interest. And as you ride in... Now, one of the things... You're not knights yet, but you can kind of act sort of like one as squires. And what you see as you come riding in, if you guys are looking around, I guess what is your plan here, guys, for when you're riding into Imber?
So it's a town in the map key. It says it's a Salisbury Manor. So it's like some manor, and then a town is kind of built up around it, or
I think that there is likely some kind of like minor lord in here.
Yeah, like a knight, one knight or something, and his 2 household guards, and a little bit of a village, essentially. A couple houses or something.
maybe we should approach him.
Yeah, I think we just ride up to the biggest building and say, hey, we're here.
So the biggest building is really not a. There's only about a couple hundred residents, and you can tell from the manner that it seems to be doubling as a British Christian church as well. And when you walk up, as you kind of ride up, no one comes to greet you. People sort of greet you in the town as you ride through, but as you approach this small building, you hop off and you're able to walk up and you knock on the door, and you hear from within, "Hold on, coming." And the door opens, and what you see there is this face. And what you cannot see is the man who also wears the robes of a priest of the Church of Britain. And he looks up at you all. He's got a Celtic-style cross hanging around his neck. And he looks up at you. "Oh, hello. Hello. Have you come for service?" "My lords, my lady."
Well, we have come to perform a service. We heard about like a man-eating bear that's in the area, and
"The bear? You've come to deal with the bear?"
yeah, Sir Elad has sent all 4 of us to go finish off this bear so that it's not eating all of your people.
See if this guy knows.
Is there a knight around or somebody, or are you in charge here, or what's going on?
He looks at you. You can tell from the expression on his face he doesn't know who Sir Elad is. And he says, I'm Gar. They called me Old Gar. My father was a knight before the time of the Pendragon, and I haven't inherited the manor, though my calling was one of not this world. Please, come inside, come inside. If you've ridden since... You said where? Vagon?
Well, we stopped in Till's Head, so it's been, most of the day.
Well, come in, please. The night will be here long, and the wind from the woods can be cold. Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are all welcomed in, and this place, it likely was a very minor manor at one point, but it seems to have been turned over largely to an impromptu kind of British church. Adwin, you would be very familiar with this. Some of the smaller communities, if they had a priest with family connections, this would be the sort of thing that they would see. The accoutrements inside definitely look like more of a church, but a very modest one. If this guy's family had money and whatnot at some point, it's largely squandered or gone. So he offers you wine and bread and cheese, and then says, "So you said, sir, forgive my memory is not what it was. What's the name of the knight, your lord, who you come here for?"
Well, we've been squiring for Sir Elad in Vagon Castle. He's Earl Roderick is put him in charge, and we've all 4 of us squires have been training there, and he gave us this quest to go, deal with your bear problem.
The bear problem? It's Sir Elad. Is he a man of the Earl?
Yeah, Earl Roderick. He's one of his knights.
The Earl took interest in our problem. Incredible. I and he makes the sign of the cross and looks up and he says, God be good. God is good to us. Our prayers have been answered. You will be dealing with this bear then. You know how to handle the bear then.
Oswulf, you think your axe is good against bears?
Yeah.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Is he a Saxon? Are you a Saxon? He almost
Yeah, it's
spits a
okay.
bit as he says that.
You know,
Oswulf peers down on him.
he's
Aye.
tame. Right, yeah.
I, a Saxon I be, but I am, as the others, a squire to Earl Roderick. I will help deal with this bear.
He looks you up and down and kind of looks at the rest of you guys, sees that you're not joining in his Saxon hate, so he'll just... Then... yeah, you guys all have... It's a sort of a default thing. Because the Saxons are what Arthur and his father and his uncle have fought this whole time, you can always draw on Saxons.
It's not awful.
No, and like, you know what? It's sort of this weird, like, but he's our Saxon, so, you know, because there are...
Well, there's like the Benwick Saxons, I think is a group that like right away declared for the Pendragon, and so hate Saxons doesn't apply to them in the game rules.
Yeah.
It's a special thing.
And so he, after, you know, you guys get settled in, he asks, you know, what your plan is then. He still seems, and he keeps saying like it's incredible that you guys have heard of this.
Hasn't the bear killed like 10 people?
Has it? It's good you're here then.
Oh, do you not? Should we, Gar? Maybe we could talk to, or Sir Gar. Maybe we could talk to some of the locals.
They all know me as Old Gar.
Okay, well, maybe we could talk to some of the you know, the miller or somebody like that who might know a little bit about what the bear has been doing, what's been going on.
Oh, if you think that would be of value, they are but simple folk, hunters and farmers.
I know about that, but our tame Saxon here is good at talking to people.
Is he then? Does he speak our tongue? Or does he gibber in that German?
Only when he's being beaten in a horse race.
If you think is best, young lords and lady, you take your pet with you. Do you want her to sleep indoors?
Well, yeah, we're all gonna sleep indoors if that's all right.
At your pleasure. Never let it be said that old Gar would not go the extra mile for his kind. You keep the Christian God, do you not, Tingir?
Ooh, that's a little, you know, sir, I don't know if you've heard, but it's bad, you know, stay away from politics and religion if you want to make friends and all that.
You would seek to sleep in the house of the Lord, and you bring your pagan ways and his.
If there's like a nice towns lady who needs somebody to watch over her hearth or something like that, we could do that.
Why don't you give us an oratory? I'm only going to make you do it just because he now knows that you're a pagan.
Yep.
He couldn't definitely be persuaded, but he may not be, so pretty good. You can put an experience tick next to your orate. So,
man,
when he hears that, you know, he sort of, I will not have it said that old Gar turns away those who come to help Imber. You and your Saxon, kindly, if you need to perform your rites, do so in the fields and the woods, as is your custom. And then,
Okay.
Adwin, this is definitely a place where you may be able to win some points here. But Lupinus, you're Christian as well, too, but this guy is from a different... Being a Christian may be more of a benefit than, than what Oswald or Tingir have to say. Now, Oswald, how are you guys? How's Oswald taking this stuff right now?
He's used to it. He tried to make a joke out of it and murmured to Lupinus when he was getting fired up with fervor of his bigotry fervor. He was, "Come along, Lupinus. Oldgar seems to be against Romans. Perhaps we should leave this church."
And as you say, Adwin will say, now then. Let's remember, Lord says to be generous, and to all people, I think, much as it pains me, my roots as well, but he's here to help. He's been sent, and he's a vassal of our Lord. So, cut him some slack.
Okay. Why don't you give us a religion check? So you got religion, British Christianity.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to go so well.
Nope, I'll give you plus 10.
Well, that's better.
Yeah, he's same faith as Oldgar. You're building on the success that Tingir got.
Remember, this is Adwin, right?
Yeah. So it'll be nice.
Yay!
Go ahead and put a tick next to your religion. So he kind of, his eyes go up at you and he sees the Celtic cross on you as well. And his face just lights up and he says, "You keep the faith then, my lady. You are a model of grace which I am unequal to. You are, of course, right. You, Tingir, and you, Saxon, you will be welcome in my house. You may speak to whomever you feel you need to. You will sup here tonight, and if you feel ready to find this bear tomorrow, on the morn, I will provide you what needs to navigate the Blakemore Wood. Will you accept my hospitality and my apology?"
No apology necessary, sir. We understand your concern about our faiths and our backgrounds, but we happily accept your hospitality.
And he turns to you, Oswulf. "And you? Please, allow me to extend you the hospitality that our God would give to those in need of such."
Have no fear, priest. I do not take your words to heart, and I will accept your hospitality and give you my own word. I will do the best to protect you and yours and deal with this bear of Imber. Now, one last question.
Yes.
Do you have any beer?
He kind of looks at you, and I think because of the situation, like the tenseness of it at one point, and then the relief of it with Adwin's intervention, he kind of looks at you and... "It is good to hear that some of what I hear of your kind proves true. I have a brew that I brew myself. Please, let us loosen our tongues, and I will have those who may know of the bear brought here." Yes?
Let all know the House of Imber is a generous one.
So he brings over, like, there are some people who come over. It's a novelty for obviously for knights to, or even like soon to be knights, to come through Imber. So you guys get a very, very, curious response for it. the novelty of a big Saxon among your number too is definitely something that brings some attention. What I'll let you guys don't need to roll for this actually, because I think that if you, I guess, well, what do you want to ask of the people?
I think just try to confirm.
Where have people died? What part of the woods?
Yeah.
Is there a cave?
Is there a cave?
Old Gar. No, sorry. Something seems a little suspicious. We don't know if it's because Old Gar is just being, if he's just senile and he doesn't know. But if it wasn't that big of a deal, why would we be sent all the way there? I'm going to whisper in Lupinus's ear to get him fired up about it. Look at Dave.
Maybe they wanted us to stop here and impression Old Gar with, I don't know, maybe it's political. Maybe he needs to know who's coming to save them.
I think Adwin, why don't you give us another recognized roll, and I'll give you a +5 to it. Okay. Oh, James?
Yep.
Sorry, another recognized roll, please.
Another recognized
Yeah,
roll.
+5. So, you don't even... geez, if I hadn't given you the +5, you would have got a crit. What you know is what I was going to need to roll for to see whether you know if Old Gar is a priest of importance or influence or whatnot, and this guy is no more... he is equal in, the wealth of political influence as he is in actual wealth. Which is to say, this is a guy who inherited a manor and serves as the priest. He's likely not the first son either if he went to the priesthood. He likely had an elder brother who may have passed, and he may have inherited both that and the local kind of religious authority.
Oswald, did you mention something about the Sir Blaine's and...
Yeah, I told you I'm whispering in Lupinus's ear as we're drinking this guy's beer or his homebrew or whatever it is, mead or honey mead or whatever.
Lupinus whispers back, he's like, isn't it odd that the very next morning after Sir Blaine's and Brother Sinon disappear, that we're all sent off on some kill a bear thing? Like the timing of it is atrociously coincidental. It's almost like I need to get rid of these guys because they're either going to cause a problem or something bad's going to happen, and I don't want them to be here.
Something for sure.
James, what were you saying?
No, just a wild bear chase. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wild goose chase.
So
now that's...
What do you guys... I guess let me make it short and simple. If you ask about dead people, they have seen the bear in the woods. No one from this village has died.
Has there been something else killing people?
No. Blessedly, there's nothing that lurks in the wood. It's been seen, so people have definitely been avoiding that thing. And it is huge. It is terrifying. They're keeping both hunters and woodsmen have been keeping to the edge of the woods. I mean, the woods all belong to the Pendragon as well, but they have been very careful to not explore any deeper than necessary because of this bear. It most certainly could. Large enough to strike a man's head from its neck with one casual swipe.
Well, that's interesting. You guys make anything of that?
We were told 10 minutes. Right, James.
No sons of my no sons of my father will ever fear any bear, let it be known Oswulf will take care of it if necessary.
Nice. It's interesting because it's almost like Oswulf is overcompensating with a willingness to dive into this and not like, no, this is a way for me to restore my honor. I'm not fucking thinking about this other bullshit. Let's just go get it. Right?
He started to, and then he's like, oh, we got into this other shit, so now I'm not going to mess with that anymore.
Okay. Dave and James, what were you guys going to say?
No, it's a toughie. It makes sense that this is... we've been sent off on a wild goose chase, but
why?
being the loyal squire that wants to prove herself by following orders and not being distracted, I still feel obliged to try and follow the rules.
I think what you guys would also understand as squires, having grown up in this, if you guys fell this terror of a bear, that is a sufficiently glorious task that it would be easy for them to justify knighthood, putting you forward as candidates for knighthood. Look at what these squires have done. And Dave, what were you going to say?
Well, Lupinus is just suspicious of the whole thing, so he's coming up with all sorts of conspiracy theories on why we've been sent out here, and is the bear really worth 4 squires, and if no one's died, then is this even the right bear? And, and so,
typical dodgy Londoner.
So, yeah, he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on before it actually happens and before he has all the information. So,
do you have anything else you guys wish to do before the evening passes?
What is fairy lore?
Fairy lore is for getting information about the magical nature or the magical things in Britain. So if nothing thus far has come up, but it definitely, if there are things, Tingir's people definitely are, like the fairies in, at least in my version of, that I'm using for Arthurian Britain, definitely. There are fairy mounds that have doorways to them to the hidden lands. There are all sorts of different secret places that you guys can be aware of.
Well,
is there any rumors about that in the Blakemore Woods, particularly, that we would know about? Like,
any of the woods, I guess. Go ahead and give us a fairy lore check there, Tinkir.
Sure. I'm pretty good at fairy lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you know is, this is moving the narrative forward, so you can tick that one as well. I mean, like a lot of the woods in here, it's said that the woods conceal paths to other lands, and in the Arthurian Britain, these would be places like Avalon, the place where the Lady of the Lake and her order are held. They are places like, I'm trying to think of the others. There are other ones that I can't think of right now. I made a list of a couple before, and then I subsequently lost it. Arlen may be able to inform you for more of them, but places like the Green Knight's Castle may be found in those lands. The Island of Glass as well is said to be a place in the Hidden Lands. The Blakemore Woods specifically, you haven't heard anything about a bear. I think there are other legends and whatnot you may know about it, but nothing that specifically pertains to this.
Okay. Well, if it's just a really big bear, we could probably, between the 4 of us, probably take it down. So, yeah. Tomorrow morning, we go out and hunt the bear.
There's no question. Let's do it.
Okay. So then,
heavy on the cups tonight, my friend.
That goes without saying. Now hand me that decanter.
one thing that works in your favor is the relative poverty of Old Gar. So you are not able to really indulge because he really just doesn't have that much. But with the morning, you guys will set out and ride into the Blakemore Wood. So let's take a look at that. So guys, here is an idea of what to expect in the Blakemore Wood. The woods in Arthurian Britain are, sprawling and primal and twisted. Because of the laws of the king, there are restrictions on cutting them down as well, so they really get to grow kind of untamed from primordial times. It's almost like taking a step back to the dawn of time, riding into the woods. Now, to do the hunt, what you're able to get from the townsfolk and from Old Gar is that you guys will be getting a +5 bonus to your first hunting roll. So here's what we need. Let's see here.
I did bear many a time. Or been on bear hunts, I suppose.
So your prey... Forgive me, just quickly reading this over again. So first thing will be to search and find some... Oh, here we go. It tells you how many... Sorry, guys. So the way hunting works in this, hunting is a very nightly kind of thing. Depending on the season, it tells you how many segments you have to hunt in the day. And... let's see here.
While you're reading up on that, there's a wonderful passage in T.H. White's The Once and Future King about the first time that Arthur and Kay go into the woods, and about how much of a kind of complete and utter wilderness it is, even though they're only like a couple miles from the castle, Sir Ector's home, and all that sort of stuff. It's a great little bit of that story.
Okay.
Which, of course, is a story full of great little bits and great big bits and all sorts of...
Absolutely. Here's what... You guys will also be... Old Gar will lend you dogs to help with your hunt. So they'll help you with finding a trail. All right, so... Who would like to make the hunting roll to try and find the track for this thing?
I'm quite adept with hunting. I believe this is where I should step up.
Okay. So, Lupinus, you take the lead of this. You take command of Old Gar's dogs, and you guys ride off into the Blakemore Wood. So what I'd like you to do, you get +5 for this first roll. This is to find good spoor, to find the trail of it. So go ahead and give us a hunting roll there, Lupinus. Fucking beautiful. Is that a nat 20? It is! Holy shit. So, Lupinus, definitely tick your hunting skill.
So is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'm still kind of confused. It's a good thing.
So basically, the way to avoid fumbles is if you have a 20 or higher in a skill, you can't fumble or fail anymore. You just succeed or critically succeed.
Yeah.
And I knew I had a 15, and Kev was giving us a +5, so I'm like, oh, sweet. If I step up, then there's no chance of failure, and there's a 5% chance to crit.
Yeah. It's if you roll a critical success comes from rolling the exact number of what your skill is when you're checking it.
So this is roll 20 trying to mess us up, but because Kev gave us +5, I got a crit.
You guys get it. All right, so what you guys find is you do find the track. So you find spoor. And
Book.
from a critical success, I'll even give you a plus 10 to your next roll. We're going to get plus 5 for the next one, but I'll give you a plus 10 to this. So now you guys will need to each make a check. This is where you're splitting up and trying to like chase down or run down this bear. So everyone gets plus 5 except for Lupinus, who will get plus 10, and I'm rolling against a 10. And what you need to do is beat me 4 times.
So hunting check again?
Yes, please. I rolled a critical failure. So long as you guys do well, Tingir gets a failure.
Oswald succeeded.
Everybody else made it, but I failed.
Oh, great. Okay. So everyone who succeeded, go ahead and put an experience tick next to that. If you succeeded, you guys are now 2. Because of my critical failure, you can almost hear this thing off in the mist-shrouded woods, making its way along. Oswolf, you failed.
Tingir failed.
Oh, Tingir failed.
I succeeded.
Sorry, I had it in my head. Tingir, you failed, but you didn't critically fail. So you're still on. You don't fall further behind. You're 4 away from this, but you have lost your allies. While the speed that you've enjoyed from catching up to, or beating Oswald has been an ally to you in the past. This twisted and seemingly intentionally confusing place seems to bend back on itself, and it's not helping you here. Now, guys, we need to make another round of rolls. Hold on. Okay, so let's quickly say, Oswolf, you are 2 away from the bear. Lupinus and Adwin, you are 3 away. And Tingir is 4 away. Next round, guys. Everyone makes your hunting check. No modifiers whatsoever. And I'll make my roll against 10. Oops, wrong thing. Again. Holy Christ. That's terrible. All right, so Oswolf gets a success, Adwin gets a success, Lupinus gets a success, and Tingir gets a success. Tingir, you can tick your hunting skill now. All right, so that brings Tingir, you are 1 away. Everyone else catches up with the bear. So, you guys are riding along through these woods, and now, let's see here. You guys will have an opportunity to make a surprise attack. Hold on here. The way hunting works. Where's Appendix 2? One thing that I really hope in the new edition is they give you page references instead of just what chapter you find stuff.
And that they actually consolidate some of the things, because the hunting rules are in like 3 different places for the whole...
yeah, yeah. Okay, so then where ever living fuck is it in here? And like, why you have 3 pages away from the part of the adventure? Like, why not just put it in there? Okay. Good golly. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. All right, so here's the surprise attack. So this is when you guys come across this thing. You guys will have a chance to try and get in and get a hit on this massive thing. But let me show you what you face right now. So, as the 3 of you, Tingir, you're still a little behind. It'll take you 1 round to catch up with everybody here. This is what you see before you, and it rears up so you can see it at its full impressive height. We said, so is this the Breakfell Woods?
Yeah.
There we go. And this is what you see, guys. And that is an accurate size comparison. This is perhaps the biggest bear in Britain. So, what you guys get to do first is to ride. You're going to make a surprise attack by rolling your combat skill, whichever one you're using. You cannot use two-handed weapons from horseback, but you could use anything else: a sword, a lance. If you're using a lance, you get to use the damage, or a spear, you get to use the damage of your horse as opposed to your own, so you'll do more damage. In some cases, Oswolf, you're as strong as a charging horse, so it'll be the same. So, you guys come riding into a clearing where this thing is charging along. What would you guys like to do?
Lupinus spurs his horse, lance at the ready, and charges at the bear.
Okay. Then, would you go ahead and give us a lance check, or whatever one is, lance or spear expertise. Can't remember what Lupinus has. And then I'm going to oppose it with my avoidance.
Failure! Yes!
And he succeeded. So Lupinus spurs his mount on first, goes racing forward, trying to get this thing, and it batters him to the side. And his horse goes off, and it charges off in another direction. Oswolf and Adwin, you have also come across this. Either of you can make the next surprise attack.
Even though my sword's better, it kind of makes sense to do a lance charge at this point.
And remember, you guys can draw on your passions, too, if you want to try and improve your chances with shitty skills.
That sounds a good idea, but is this...
And then what will happen, guys, after the surprise attack, if this thing lives, then you can leap off of your mounts and fight in melee if you choose. If you are better with that. If you choose to call on any of your things, like, say, Oswolf, your axe's benefit, you can do that as part of your action. So, Adwin, what are you doing? Are you...
Yep, so I'll charge.
Okay.
Charge forward on that.
Okay.
With the lance.
I succeeded on my avoidance, so go ahead. Make your lance roll.
That's not good.
This thing is canny. That leaves you, Oswolf.
So Oswolf comes riding up, sword in hand. Obviously, the hated lance forgotten for now.
Most certainly. His back's still sore from that.
Oh my god.
Oh no! Okay.
This is perfect, actually.
So, you know what happens? So, when you roll a fumble with most weapons, they break. That is not the case with swords, though. But I think it goes skittering from your hand. But then this thing stops and turns. And let me roll my avoidance. Yeah, it avoided as well, too. Because of the fumble, you go, Odin's balls! It goes skittering. You don't know where it's fallen right now. But this thing turns. And now we're going to drop in. And we are going to... This thing is going to try and kill you next round. So, where we are right now is Lupinus and Adwin have charged this thing, but they lost it in the woods. You need to make a hunting check to get yourself back there. Tingear needs to make a hunting check to find where everyone is. Oswolf, next round you guys will be fighting one another. You can either fight from horseback with your dagger, I guess, or you can drop down and try and face this thing.
Do you have an axe or something?
Yeah. I hated that fucking sword anyway. It's almost as bad as the damn lance.
So then, what do we see
Grabs
as
his axe.
Fabulous. Okay, so this thing, you grab that, and this thing will rear up. Now, this is a bear of legend. The Breakfell bear. And there's definitely something unnatural about this. Lupinus, Adwin, and Tingir. Well, first off, Oswald, I need you to give us a valorous check. As this thing rears up before you, we'll see if you are unnerved by the presence of this massive primal.
I roar back.
Nice. So you guys hear Lupinus, Adwin, and Tingir. You can hear the roar of the bear, and you hear Oswulf roar back, telling you that they are together. I need each of you guys to give us a valorous check, please. No problem with Tingir. No problem with... Awesome. Awesome. Guys, each one of you, having faced this fearsome foe, can tick off your valorous trait. Then, this thing rears up above you. Claws easily longer than the most elaborate dagger. The way that we do all combat in this, you don't have turns or whatnot. You just both roll. Whoever rolls best hits in the exchange going back and forth. So, what we need for this round is, should we start with Oswulf and then see if Tingir, Lupinus, and Adwin can find them? Or do you want to see if they come charging in to witness his combat with him? What do you guys think?
Start with Oswald.
Okay.
Witness me.
Okay, so Oswulf. Do you want me to roll first, or do you want to roll?
Well, can I pull on my passion here?
Absolutely. What do you want to do?
Yeah, because I think from what I wrote down for my axe, like I like the idea of it being said to be built by forged in dwarven fires.
Yep.
And I think I have to do love family.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, you do.
Make a love family check, because I'd already called on my family at one point saying that no son of my father would ever turn down this sort of fight.
Okay.
This bear of Balewood is burning to be buried.
Nice. Go ahead and
right.
give us a love family check.
Oh boy, here's a 20. All right, yes.
Nice. So you're shouting out in German, you know, and this it is a kind of like witness me. I'm picturing it being that, charging at this, you know, shouting at this massive thing. The sunlight's almost eclipsed by this thing looming over you, but you will get plus 10 to your two-handed roll. So
plus 8, I think. Plus 8. I don't know, plus 8 pro is what it's supposed to give me. I don't know what that means, I guess.
Oh, no.
The axe.
So what it also gives... Oh, yeah, you were calling on it to trigger your axe thing. So your protection, you're going to subtract 16 from any damage that this thing does to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the protection of... you're almost like Baldur himself. Immune from harm. Unfortunately, this thing's claws are made from mistletoe. Just kidding. A little
son of a
joke for
biscuit.
the old Norse myth crowd out there. All right. What do you...
you said I get a plus 10, though?
You can also call... No. What you can also do is call on a passion to gain the benefit of plus 10 to your skill roll.
Yeah, that's right.
But
By my honor, of course.
Yeah, but it's a risk.
Oh, well. I'm nothing if not reckless.
Fuck yeah. Go ahead and make your honor.
Oh, no. Now I have a minus 5, right?
Now you have minus 5. So go ahead.
Son of a biscuit.
And here, let's see here.
Do you get the minus 5 if you just fail, or is it just if it's a fumble? Or what
No,
happens when you
minus
fumble?
5 if you fail.
Yeah, minus 5 if you fail your thing, and then if you fumble, I think you...
If you fumble, you go crazy.
Yeah, it's madness. So...
this is why you need a whole bunch of brothers to start with, so that at least one of them makes it to knighthood.
So let's
narratively,
see.
What?
Yep.
How do you fail at like an honor roll?
So I think...
Don't think enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So if you made the roll, what you would have to do is try and link, like, narratively what you're calling on. Like, I guess from what you were saying before about being sent home, you maybe call out, you know, that you'll be a knight, but for whatever reason, maybe you're like slipping into some kind of berserker rage or something, you know, which is clearly not appropriate for a knight, you know.
Yeah, I've already discounted the use of this lance, thrown off my sword
Yep.
accidentally,
Yeah.
and now rushing into battle with my two-handed family axe.
All right. So with that, let me tell you here. I'll show you whether they succeed or not. I did on a 6. So I've hit you with claws. Now what you need to do is contest it. So you're going to roll. If you roll higher than me, you hit and you do damage. Come on. And you got -5 to your sword. Oh, yes! Solid hit! Now, go ahead and roll 7d6.
Now, is that in the character sheet, or I just roll them separately?
You can roll damage, but it isn't... hold on, roll on damage. Maybe it prompts you to add other dice in.
Yep. Oh, it just says a modifier.
Plus 1d6, I think? I don't know. Try putting 1d6 in. I actually don't know.
Oh, I just hit submit. It rolled 6. I'll just roll another d6.
21, and go ahead and roll 4 more. So 25 damage. Holy shit. Yeah, so you swing this mighty thing in, and it sinks into its side. I actually have to make... So when it... Arlen, remind me, when it makes a... when you hit the knockdown threshold, is it automatically knocked down, or do I have to make a strength check or something?
No, knockdown threshold, you make a dex or horsemanship check to actually be knocked down.
Okay, let's see if this... Fuck. So, Oswolf, you swing this thing in, and I'll let you give the description. This thing rears down at you, and you hit this thing so hard, you knock it off its feet.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I chomped into its haunch so bad that it weakened as it came, and it's kind of stumbled to one side with a roar and spittle, spurting blood from its hip.
All right, now Lupinus, Tingir, and Adwin, you hear this from elsewhere. Why don't you all give us a unmodified hunting roll, unless you want to call on your passions.
Does he have a chance to hit me back or no?
No. It's just...
that's it. It's just the one roll.
Yep,
oh, shit.
Yep. Yeah, it's dangerous. Okay. Hunting. Ooh, Adwin. Where is he? Tingir?
I'm trying to decide if I should passion up or not.
Such a great idea.
I think I should. So I think I have I've kind of excelled at all of the challenges that we've had so far. I did great at the Quintain compared to everybody else. I beat everybody else in the horse race, and I didn't get drunk and throw up all over myself. So I think this is, if we come back with a squire dead after just some bear, because I don't know exactly, I haven't seen the bear, so I don't know that it's quite as huge as it is yet. That's going to reflect on me as the leader most of all. So it's on sort of my honor to get in and finish this thing with Oswolf.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll honor. Yeah.
Success. Nice.
And then do my 10 mod for hunting. Oh, I didn't even need it. But I got it.
All right. So then you and Lupinus come charging into this clearing. For the next engagement, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to be on horseback? Do you want to be engaged? If you're on horseback, you get +5 to your skill, because this thing's lower than you. What are you guys thinking?
Even with a gladius? I don't know. I think I might want to get it up close and personal with the gladius of Titus Polo.
All right, yeah, what is going on in the woods here, Adwin? Jeez. All right, then, for the second engagement then, we have Oswolf. This thing roars and brings itself up once again. Oof. And it seems, from the spittle coming from its enormous maw, it seems to be enraged. Tingir, I forgot, I didn't get your answer. Were you, or you did, and I fucking talked over you. Are you mounted still, or are you going to be leaping down?
I'm gonna ride my horse around behind it and try to stab it from behind with my spear while the other two are in front.
All right, then would you guys? Let's see who wants to go first here. It's a legendary creature. It can defend against each of you guys or fray with each of you guys.
I'll try to spear it.
Okay, So go ahead. Let me here. I'll tell you what I rolled. I succeeded on a 6.
I get a +5 for being taller than it.
Yes, you do.
Right?
Yep.
Awesome. Oh, it gets me.
So you do get in to try and get at it. It sees you coming and sweeps back with one of its massive claws. And you take... Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Holy shit, 22 points of damage.
So
shit.
I got
Tin gear.
armor, and I
Is that
succeeded
a
in my roll, so I've got my shield.
Yep.
So that's 14.
14.
That's what?
8 points of damage.
8 left. Yeah, 8 points of damage on a wound. That's not enough to knock me off my horse or to give me a major wound, but I'm not feeling great.
Okay. Then Lupinus or Oswolf. Who wants to go next?
Let's see what Lupinus does, this sneaky little Roman.
Well, so I just realized that Lupinus is, because he missed on the way out, right? And then he jumps off his horse and he's about to get engaged. And is there a lot of blood? Because, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there is. So why don't you give us... Oh, my God. So your cowardly blood thing is 16. So Lupinus... Oh, shit! Your nerve breaks! Oh. You see the gore and blood. Oswald was almost bathed in this shit at this point. So then, this thing, it is not cowardly. Oh boy. So its claw lashes out at Lupinus. Oh, I gotta roll a 1d20. And then, it succeeds!
Oh.
18. So if you have your shield out, it will also reduce it by 6 more, which means you would take 4 points of damage. Lupinus.
Okay.
Yeah. Oswolf, this thing seems to be battering your allies aside.
All right, so
You're still at -5, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to go for something else here. I'm going to have to go for a passion to counteract that -5 if I can.
I don't...
Oh, you can't? You can't go for another one after you fail?
Well, what I would do... Go ahead, Arlen.
You can't have... You call on 1 passion per scene maximum, and if you're disheartened, you're...
Oh.
That's it.
Well, I couldn't have called... I shouldn't have been able to call on that honor anyway, because I'd already called on my family, love of family
those
to
are two
protect
different things,
myself.
though. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, because it
was a power with the weapon.
Precisely. Yeah. Okay. So this thing.
All right. So I'm going for it.
It fails. Good. It fails. So.
Hey, quit hitting my mic, cat.
No promises. Go ahead and make your roll at -5.
Oh, I failed.
Oh, okay. So both of you keep your distance. Neither of you manages to land a successful blow. All right, Adwin. Give us a hunting roll. Can you? Let's see here. Do you want to?
I guess I'll use honor for to try and get back in the game.
Okay. So go ahead. Success. All right. So +10 to your hunting. Oh
God.
Oh.
I think you really are being befuddled by the mists of the.
There really must be something at play here.
Some kind of mystical enchantment of some kind that's preventing you from entering the
said
keeping
the breakfell conceals the realms to the hidden realms, and
maybe she's found her way to the hidden realms.
I think
I've been to the hidden realms, so I'm lost.
You know what I'll say? Actually, hold on. As you are riding through this, as you're riding through the mists. There is something you spy that only you see, Adwin.
Ooh.
She's friends with the bear. She made the mists.
Now, this figure is not on foot. It is riding on a pale green steed. And this is what it looks like.
So the bear wasn't enough.
You see it, and then it's gone. Maybe your mind's playing tricks on you, Adwin, and maybe this is the reason that you failed your hunting yet again, in spite of all the noise and whatnot. Is just this thing you spot it out of your eyes, and you're looking around wildly to try to catch a look of it again, and it's gone. Next melee, Oswolf.
Maybe you were destined to not be in the melee, so you could spot that creature.
It could be. God does work in strange ways. Tingir, Oswolf, and Lupinus. Who wants to go first against the bear?
I'll go first this time.
Okay. Let me give your... I succeed on a 1. As long as you get a success, you should win.
Yeah, right. I got a 50-50 chance.
Here we go.
Yes!
Go ahead, roll damage.
Oh.
21, and then roll 26. Oh. So, Tingir, you're coming around with your lance up. Lupinus, you're staggered. And Oswolf, you land your massive axe solidly in the side. And that enchanted steel burrows deep into this thing's hide. It lands out, or manages to get out a pained roar. And then falls down heavily to the ground. You have defeated the Breakfell bear.
Now I feel like I should let you guys go.
So
I guess I'll hold up my axe and shout like my ancestors would have.
Tingir,
my berserker rage.
As you ride, Oswolf cries out. Adwin, you'll have no difficulty finding where they are now. Lupinus, or Tingir, as you ride past, you notice there is something on the bear's head. Would you give me a fairy lore check, please?
I will do so. Fairy lore. No modifier. Yeah.
You go ahead and tick that if you haven't yet. What you see on its head is there is a bit of scarring in the shape of like a circle with some other designs in it. And you've seen such things. You know that some mounds are marked with such things. This has a mark of the Fey folk.
Mm-hmm.
So, Adwin, you come riding in. Lupinus, what's going on with you?
He is brazenly shamed in front of his fellow squires. And while he thought he maybe could overcome this weakness that had reared its head a couple of times in his early training, he's just very silent and won't even like make eye contact with anybody.
So Adwin, as you ride in, you see that you see the size of this thing, and you see that it has been felled by Oswolf, who I think is, Hobbs, you can tell me, he sounds like he's probably still stomping around it, shouting out at the,
Yeah, he's shouting out his axe in one hand, bloody mitt comes, "Come, Lupinus, we killed him," with the blood flying off of his hand, trying to gather him in like a big bear hug, like, we did it.
So my directed, we didn't talk about, but my directed trait is spiritual in the presence of the Fae, or evidence of the Fae. Since I had this kind of remarkable experience, and they tie into my pagan beliefs. So Oswolf is doing his kind of battle celebration. Lupinus is, off brooding or whatever. Adwin's riding up, and Tingir will he kind of puts his spear in the ground and gets off his horse, and he advances and sort of kneels down sort of close to the bear's head. Not so close that the bear could bite him if it's still alive, but he's just sort of in kind of quiet contemplation, kind of trying to figure out what all this means.
I think that you definitely, because of the spiritual connection with it as well, you most assuredly feel that this is something that has been touched by the other worlds. So, Adwin, you come riding in, and with this thing down, what do you say?
I'm like, Oswulf, well done. That's an impressive feat of axemanship there. But I have to hand it to you, bested twice.
It is you that helped us get here, Adwin. You and your hunting. Sometimes the mists can be mysterious. What's Tinger do? Did you bring the ale? Party, let's go.
But I have to tell you, apart from this otherworldly bear, I saw something else out there. It was horrifying wraith of a man. So, in full armor, but green and rotting.
Would you give
I only got a glimpse, but he went.
Adwin, this will be at, I think, you didn't see his face, so you wouldn't be able to do a recognize, but why don't you give me a heraldry check at -5? Because you did see his crest. It was a red field. Oh, so close. Holy smokes. Red field with a single white hand on it. Now, if you described it to your allies, they may be able to...
I think I automatically would.
Okay.
We're all into
Sure.
cruel.
Everyone go ahead and... Oh, Oswald.
I was just seeing if he would answer cruelly, like if Adwin was trying to steal some of his glory, but he doesn't. Good.
Nice.
Heraldry.
Okay.
Nope. But I'm definitely too fired up to recognize what's going on.
Okay. And Lupinus. Oof. All right. So, what you guys... that means nothing to you. You're not sure what... Maybe if you spoke to someone who was better, that might help, but... now, obviously, you can't bring this entire carcass back, but all of you would know how to skin a bear. So, that would be the way to bring back. And this size of this thing, like, this would fill even an impressive... Even the hall at Salisbury Castle in Sarum. You think that this thing could fill the floor in there. Picture the glory that will come from this. Holy. I mean, for one thing, you guys are each getting 15 glory for defeating this bear. And I will give you 10 glory for the successful hunt as well, too. Now, who is the one who's going to be responsible for skinning this thing? Oh, Lupinus, you got hunting, but you can't see blood.
I mean, it's Oswulf's kill, so I think if he wants it, it's...
Yeah, it should be him.
I'm more than willing to share. If someone feels like their skills are greater, I'm generous.
It's that legendary generosity of Oswulf. So,
I don't think skinning is actually as bloody. Like, because when you start cutting the fur off, it's just fur between skin, and it's not a lot. It's when if you're gutting and stuff, that would be really
yeah.
gory.
And you know what? In fairness, too, I think like what it feels like more of a nightly. It's not that he gets like the willies around blood. And you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, but it's that he's like seeing the blood of other living men and women. That's the thing that's unnerving.
Yeah, and I think it's more in the shock of the moment. So like initially it shocks him, and then he's got a chance to recover, but there wasn't a chance to recover because Oswulf's, such a great bear killer.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, Lupinus would know how to properly, in spite of being a city boy, he seems to have a knack for this. I think you got the highest hunting, don't you? Oh, you didn't even need to roll for it. I mean, you've already got the tick, I think, on hunting. But yeah, so Lupinus gets down to the grisly work of skinning this thing. Oswulf, Tingyr, and Adwin, this is going to take a little while. It's only about midday at this point. So what would you guys do? You guys want to make a fire, eat some of this, cook some of this meat first? What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Bear steaks.
Okay.
I would be asking Adwin about the being that she saw in the forest, and wondering if there's any connection between the bear and the greenish knight. If there's any kind of like,
I think my temptation
and
would have
then
been
would
head
point
back
out to
out.
all my before Lupinus gets to skinning the head, I would start pointing out to look at this scarring and well, I believe that this is related to the
Adwin,
Fae.
would you give me an awareness roll, please? He's having...
Can't succeed on anything.
Oh, jeez. So Adwin looks at it and makes nothing, although the skin of the knight seemed... It seemed as if it was afflicted with something. Like, as if it was mouldering. And although he did seem a man otherwise, though, I think, Tinker, what you could affirm is that the those of the other realms, they can look like that when they, however they want. Now, Lupinus, you get to basically the end of skinning this thing. You finish skinning at the bottom and blah, 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 and you're getting to the point where you're pulling the hide off. This is probably an hour, hour and a half into your work. When what suddenly happens, when it seems like most of the sinew and whatnot is free, is that the hide just drops down as if it was just the hide. And the meat and the bone and all the other stuff inside is gone. And you sort of look at this and you realize in the folds of this thing there's a small lump that cannot be accounted for by the unevenness of the terrain.
I call for the others, and I've already pushed back away from it and almost don't want to touch it.
Okay.
Kind of strange magics.
Tingir, you can give us another fairy lore check if you like, once you come over.
Yeah.
Also, if you speak too much of mists and magic.
Really, anyone can make a fairy lore check too, guys. Like this, if even though you've got a shitty chance of doing it, this sort of like random success you might get is the way you get skill points.
Ooh.
Yeah, Oswolf.
Oswolf, critical success. So definitely tick your fairy lore.
I'll take that 20.
You look at this thing, and for a moment, your mind goes to legends your father told, and you can see that it's a form of a humanoid form, and you think a bearsark, a warrior so infuriated and filled with the fury of Thor, they can actually transform into bears.
Is there a curse to someone who kills one?
No, but like the added glory among Saxons would be legendary if this is a bearsark.
Yeah.
You can't see the form underneath there, though. You'd have to move this hide.
I'm positive that it is a bearsark, of course. I recklessly rush up there, throw back the hide.
So as you throw back the hide, what you find inside, drenched in blood, is a maiden of maybe 15, 16 years, dressed in a gown with a single sigil repeated in the design of the long dress. And that is a red field with a single white hand on it. She seems completely insensate, and she may not be breathing, but has no visible wounds on her. And with that, guys, we bring our session of the Pendragon, the Mark of the Mouldering, to a close. So, guys, first off, Arlen, thank you for giving us an opportunity to take this game out for a spin. This was a shit ton of fun to write, a shit ton of fun to run. Yeah, this is. I can see why this is your favorite RPG.
Yeah, ton of fun on my part, and hopefully for all the other players as well. I had an absolute blast playing this.
That's good.
Absolutely. A lot of fun.
So, for those listening at home, thank you. Let's bring it to the main screen. I can't believe how fast the time went by, too. Good golly. So then, as is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding this session, the game, or any other aspect of this, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, you can find a link in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where you can find all of us active. We don't have a channel dedicated to this specific game, but we do have a Assorted Games channel, and I definitely will be talking about this more over there. As is also, so if you want to contact me directly, you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings and by email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. And you can also find a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. Let me switch over to the music that I had picked out for after the bear transformed. The Heroes Save Villages campaign benefits SOS Children's Villages International, a really terrific organization active in over 130 countries that benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. From now until April 1st, 2021, for every $25 that you donate, Canadian, you get a chance to win our grand prize in our first charity raffle of the year, or one of the other awesome prizes. The grand prize is a copy of Beadle and Grimm's Platinum Edition Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden, a really terrific product that they donated for the purpose of this campaign. If you got it when it was still available, it would have been $500 American. You can potentially win it for only 25 Canadian. And if you don't win that, the second prize is a silver edition of the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden from Beadle and Grimm. And if you don't win that, there's still a bunch of other great prizes, including a chainmail dice bag made by our resident armor smith here, Dave. There is a dice tray made by one of our other players, Andrew, and there's a bunch of great prizes from the Dungeon Musings Redbubble shop as well, too, including some t-shirts, some posters, and some other cool stuff. Best of all, you do get to make have a say in what charity sessions we'll be playing between now and April 1st as well. And you also get a chance to participate in those sessions as well, too. You can find more information about that on the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. That's where you are right now. You can find it on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. Best of all, you get a chance to help out over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children who could really benefit from your assistance. So it gives you a chance to win some cool gaming stuff, help out some kids, and have a say in what we're playing on the channel. I want to end by saying a huge thank you to everybody for playing today. Guys, Arlen, Hobbs, Dave, and James, thank you so much for exploring Pendragon with me, guys. Arlen, in particular to you, thank you so much for helping with the rules on this, too. It sure made my maiden voyage with it a lot easier. But, yeah, then.
Thank you.
For those listening at home, we hope you enjoyed this. We will see you again soon, I guess. If you enjoyed what you saw here, be sure to click on subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified when we go live. And you can find the schedule for the coming week on the community tab of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel, on the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and on Twitter. So with that, if you are joining us during the current crisis, we do hope that this finds you healthy, safe, and weathering the current crisis as well as can be expected. We hope that we've given you a couple of hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about our troubles that our young squires get themselves into. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.
Bye.